Nothing on this show is authorized by the Food and Drug Administration, and nothing said here is intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Contact your physician before starting a diet or exercise regimen, including supplementation. This is not medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only.
Test.
It's like the most epic drum fill there's ever been. Name one.
That's it.
I can't think of one that's like is more iconic than that, where people are like, fuck the rest of the song. Let's just get straight to that part.
3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's all you need to know.
Phil Collins' Tarzan soundtrack.
I mean, that is a good soundtrack.
It's a good job. OG Disney.
Damn. That just took me back for a second.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Supp Works podcast, where we do shenanigans. I like to say it's an entertainment podcast. If you learn something, it's your own damn fault. We have our host here, Joey Savage.
What up?
And our guest today is Patrick O'Driscoll with the Visionary Group.
Yes,
correct?
sir. Very grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and thanks for coming. Pat, you're out of Dallas area, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's just do a real recap of what you do, why you're here. You guys are marketing experts that kind of specialize in the nutraceutical CPG industry, correct?
Yeah. So I know you guys, obviously Nutramedia does a lot of graphic design and a lot of that brand work. You guys have had a lot of Amazon guys on here, which has been awesome. We do all we touch is Shopify, Meta, Klaviyo, email, and some creative stuff. So really the direct to consumer side. And yeah, it's really a crazy story how everything has kind of culminated back in 2020 when all the shit was going on. I was studying finance and I didn't want to go down the finance route. I was studying finance, but I want to do something else. So when everything was going down, I was like, I have this little camera. I'm going to go out and just start producing some marketing assets for some local businesses. And that turned into my own agency. So that was O'Driscoll Media. I was a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he had VaynerMedia, which is his whole marketing agency. And so from there, one thing led to another. And got a few clients locally and then started working with e-commerce clients through another agency. And so I was like, okay, this is cool, but I want to be doing this on my own. And so I got my first e-commerce client. It was a brand called YoClub Fitness, and they were blowing up all over TikTok. So some of the stuff that you guys probably cringe at and put on it. You'll probably dig up some YoClub stuff. So YoClub, so you had like KJ, who you've had on the podcast, who was kind of first mover, view on Nutra, building his brand. You had YoClub and you had Rise and you had all these guys obviously jumping on the platform. And all of them were really based in the Dallas area. So YoClub was founded by Ken Rader, who's my now business partner at TVG. And they really picked up all these like athletes that were influencers that you guys, cringe at. They were all like jumped onto the YoClub squad and they blew that brand up. And so all organically, like before all this TikTok shop stuff, blew up YoClub. Same time, so Cannon's building YoClub. I have my agency. I'm in college and I'm trying to figure out how to not go into finance. I say,
finance, bro.
Yeah. So I said, Cannon, I'll run your Facebook ads. So I started running Cannon's Facebook ads for YoClub, and we did decent results. And I was trying to put together. I was like, okay, I spent a ton of money on like courses and all this stuff to learn how to run an agency, how to pitch them and everything. And YoClub was my first e-commerce client that was 100% mine. So I had some experience working through another agency, and then YoClub was my first. It was just me and my contractor based out of Canada. We were running their ads, and it was crazy. And then Cannon, because he kind of blew up the YoClub fitness squad of influencers, there was a lot of overlap between Rise and YoClub, those same athletes.
Right, if you pull up this YoClub thing, I got to see what this
pull up
thing is
YoClub. I'm sure plenty of videos are still up there. 2019, 2020.
Is it still around or is it defunct?
Yeah, so we'll get into it. So Cannon started collaborating, a lot of collaboration with Rise, and other brands are in Dallas area. Man Sports, Steve Salmon is down there. Like Dallas is like really,
it's a hub.
It's a hub, like
of brands, and manufacturers. There's a lot going on there.
Absolutely,
warehouses, fulfillment,
Formula Life, and so they're all down there.
Label makers, at least 3 that I know over there.
Okay, yeah. So Dallas is just this hotbed that I didn't know about. I was still up in my dorm up in Boston, but Cannon was just making all these connections, and I would just kind of like hop in on a call with him once a week, and we started to build a relationship. And at the same time, we had Zach, who was out in California, who had a brand called Dogg Sportsware. And so Dogg Sportsware actually KJ started repping it in some of his content. I think that's how Cannon found out about Dogg Sportsware. So if we're following, Dogg Sportsware is super high quality premium apparel. It was more like an ASRV look, while YoClub was more kind of a Gymshark low ticket type brand. And Cannon knew that like the longevity of YoClub kind of wasn't there. It was kind of a young audience. So they decided to merge Dogg Sportswear and YoClub Fitness, and that became Dogg Sportswear. Now we'll have to have Cannon and Zach on another time to talk about all that. But that was when we're like, okay, you know what? I'm graduating. I'm going to just move out to Dallas. Let's build something together. And Cannon was getting hit up by these brands and like how to do TikTok stuff and all that stuff. And he called me up. He's like, how do I charge these people for services? Like he had no experience working in the, so if you click so I would recommend if you're trying to
what
find.
What happened to him?
So if you click Dogg Sportswear, that's where we're at. We close it down. But if you go to TikTok, you can see old content.
It's all TikTok then.
So TikTok is where you'll probably see a lot of the old content.
Okay.
But I'll let maybe at another time Ken and Zach can be on here and talk all about that stuff. But so he didn't know how to charge marketing services. So we started working with like Man Sports, some other brands. He was kind of talking to brands on the Dallas space, like how do I charge these guys? I was like, let's just team up and let's just build this agency together. So really I was all about, there we go. So they're influencers. Some of those influencers that you're seeing, they really had tons of followers for TikTok at the time.
So what are these kids doing now?
Living in their parents' basement.
Do they scatter to the winds? Like, aren't they working with other brands?
Yeah,
or?
so a lot of them you'll see Rise, maybe working just with other brands now, doing their own thing. He caught lightning in a bottle with this for a period of time, which was through COVID, and everyone was lifting and buying e-com stuff. So. Really first mover on the TikTok marketing side. So a lot of people were just trying to figure out how to actually do it. And a lot of it was through the influencers that were pushing the product. So,
I mean, that's how a lot of these TikTok brands work. It's all through like this stable, if you will, like of different influencers.
It's like you just catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to think Cannon and KJ were the same person for like the first 6 months. Then I realized they're two different people because they kind of look similar, at least on their content. They did to me.
Ken and KJ became friends, and we actually started a supplement brand. So basically, YoClub was crushing it. I came on. We moved down to Dallas. We started TVG, which is the services company, because naturally we just had some client work to start fulfilling, and obviously the brands weren't paying the bills, but the marketing was. So really, I kind of spearheaded the TVG marketing side of things. So that's what I was already doing. And then Cannon and Zach really brand focused, a lot of client service delivery, as well as starting Vision. And Vision was a brand that, again, we built with KJ. Supplement brand, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so this goes back to like, so what I'll call this whole process, if you see like the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's like you think you're the shit, and then you fall into the
I don't know anything.
Okay,
the valley of death,
valley of desperation, and then you're like, okay, I'm actually building. Like, I actually know shit here, right? Because we're all like early 20s, built this brand. My agency was doing good for locally, so like we thought we were the shit, graduating college and not, getting a finance job. That's what my basis was. And then
anything but a finance job.
Anything but a finance job was where I was at. So like, all right, cool. But
then your parents love that.
No, I was making good money compared to entry level finance. That was like my baseline was like, okay, I'll probably make X amount for entry level finance job. Let me just try to make that, and then let me get down to Texas, and price of living is way cheaper than up in Boston. So
for sure.
Yeah. So so basically, that's where we got started. Vision. So our hope, this is the valley of despair.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and this is like way too much stuff on our plate.
Yeah, you're spending money in places where you need to refocus.
Throwing money, using credit cards, not good. I'm the finance guy, failing. No, but it was good. We learned so much, and really we saw, and still to this day, my personal goal with what we do at TVG is like I really admired what Congo Brands does, where it's like the operators behind, the man behind the
influencer,
curtain. And now we can kind of go down the whole rabbit hole of influencer brands, but like I think that that was my intention. So what we did is we brought on really big influencers that we knew were pumping traffic to YoClub or other brands. We had 3 of those guys, and the whole goal, I was the ads guy, but the whole goal was just to grow it organically. And we did it good. Like we ran it for a year and a half, did a couple $100,000 of sales with just e-com, like maybe a few retailers that we got into.
That's gotta be some good profitability right there.
You'd think so, but we've definitely overextended ourselves.
You spend a lot on ads.
Yeah.
No, 0 ads. So this is
really?
all influencer marketing. And they were owners in the company that had equity. So whole fiasco. But what do you get when you get 6 or 7 dudes in their young 20s? It was kind of
they just buy whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, no one was flexing too hard, but it was just again, we had a lot going on. So, but at the same time, we started to build relationships with a lot of awesome guys in the space, and I've already talked about a few, and that's something I'm very grateful for, and seeing the guests that you guys have had on this podcast, some of those guys that you've spoken to, it was the guys at Formula Life have been really good to us. A lot of the Dallas guys, Steve Salmon, Nick over at Rise, started just build those connections. And then now it's all focus on TVG. So we're okay, let's get away from this stuff for now, put it on the shelf, and let's go.
So specifically, what services are you offering through TVG, and how does that work?
Bring your mic up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
Because people are going to want to know, the term marketing is thrown around a lot, and I have this conversation
There's a lot
with
that
our
falls under that umbrella. All right, folks, this episode is brought to you by the Future Nutra Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization for the nutraceutical industry. Imagine a world where every dietary supplement you take is safe, effective, and scientifically validated. At the Future Nutra Foundation is not just a dream, it's our mission. We're dedicated to transforming the nutraceutical industry through rigorous scientific research, comprehensive education, and unwavering advocacy for public health and safety. But we can't do it alone. Your support can make a real difference. With your donation, we can drive innovation, ensure regulatory compliance, and provide the public with the reliable information that they need to make informed health choices. Join us in our quest to create a healthier tomorrow. Visit futurenutra.org and make your donation today. Together, we can build a future where trust in dietary supplements is a given, not a question. The Future Nutra Foundation, science, safety, and a healthier tomorrow. Thank you for your support.
Marketing could be 100 different jobs and 100 different verticals of specialty. People think that Nutramedia is a marketing. I'm no, we do branding and graphics, but it's a part of your marketing.
Right.
And we work hand in hand with marketing, and we help develop.
We'll not do an email campaign.
Yeah, but ask me to run your email campaign, and it will fail. It will fail because you want me to go and operate in Klaviyo. I understand how it works, but I'm not a data guy, so I don't care. I just want to make it look pretty.
Right.
So I always tell people, I'm look, you need to go find a specialist in this particular thing, whatever vertical you're trying to do, and don't try and do 10 of them all at one time because they're I want to do influencer marketing. Right. I want to do Facebook ads. I want to do email marketing. I want to do TikTok. I want to also do retail. I also want to be on outdoor billboard.
Yep.
I want to go and do expos. Pick one. Are you direct consumer? Are you retail? What is your main vertical that's going to be paying your bills?
Right.
Select that. Go find yourself an expert in that thing.
Yeah.
And it's not me. I just help it look pretty. So
yeah, right.
So guys like you is usually who I'm pointing them towards.
Right.
Go find an agency or an individual or a freelancer who's an expert at this. That's probably lower than ground floor, not necessarily the greatest goat of the whole thing because it's going to charge more than you're going to want to pay.
Yep.
So you're going to want to find someone who's really, really hungry to start doing this and is willing to do it. I wouldn't say at a discount, but
there's a lot of clever ways you could probably structure it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you can talk a little bit about how you do your pricing and stuff like that. But you specifically work in the world of building funnels for direct consumer e-commerce campaigns.
Yeah, so I'll break it down super simple. It's called, like you said, big umbrella of marketing. We call it performance marketing. So, we're in the ad accounts trying to constantly get the good metrics. And the good metrics, that the KPIs that whenever we talk to our brands, hey, we're doing good if we're lowering your customer acquisition cost on Meta, Google, overall on Shopify, or maximizing lifetime value. So with a supplement brand, the beauty of a supplement brand is that you get people ideally purchasing multiple times a year. So the lifetime value across a year, if someone is on your subscription, they have a cart value of $50, they are, $600 for that year. Realistically, not every customer is obviously purchasing every single month. So
they'll drop off at 6 months, 3 months.
Right. And we can talk about why certain brands crush it and how they keep customers around. But really so let's say a customer purchases 3 times in a year on average. And this is what we do when we look into a brand, because the company that can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And the only way that you can spend the most to acquire a customer is you know if they're sticking around, and you can float that capital. Because if you're spending a shit ton on ads, that's money going out the door. You need to be able to float that or just be sitting on a ton of cash. So the first thing that we do with any brand is like, realistically, okay, what's your budget and what can you actually spend? Because are we looking for first purchase profitability where we can just run an ad and okay, you're making money? That's very hard in this landscape.
Right. It's kind of like unheard of.
Right. And then
it's unreasonable for people to think of it that way. I spend this much, I acquire one sale, and that way I make this much net profit off of that one. You're not looking at that. You're looking at, well, let's look at over a 12-month landscape.
Right.
Where the first acquisition is basically you still lost money.
Yeah.
The second one you may break even, but the third one you're in the money. The fourth, fifth, and sixth is when you really start to compound.
Right. Yeah. And there's so many levers there that have to be pulled. But the main thing that I would say is that, if you are in the fitness space, nutrition space, you've likely seen some of our ads. I'll kind of dodge around saying specific brands we work with, but we're trying to figure out in this sports nutrition space, and I think that's why our youth is our biggest advantage, is that we just have this understanding of like the TikTok.
Oh, that could be a fun segment. Be like find the TVG marketing.
Yeah, find the TVG marketing. You could probably
Do y'all use a lot of AI?
See AI.
It's gonna give him away.
No. I know the ads you're referring to. We do use a little bit of AI, but we use some AI for some brands I see around here. But no, the point is the TikTokification of social media has resulted in a lot of these brands that are stuck in retail or trying to figure out how to actually like perform on D2C, a spot for us to jump in and actually add a ton of value. So
huge landscape there, huge opportunity because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
Margins in retail are slim.
Right.
And everyone's like, hey, I want to be
certainly slimmer than D2C.
I want to be like Ecovision. I want to be like this brand. I want to be it. And they come and they ask like, what is it? I'm like, shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Because
you're saying a retail brand asked you this question?
Yeah, there's two different sort of like asks I get in this realm. There's the brand that has DMHA or some sort of like heavy stimulant, gray area, and that's slowing down, or they're having to convert their formulas to something that's more legal, and they're finding that they're not seeing the same level of success.
Well, yeah.
So they come to us
harder
because
to
they're
sell
like
something legal.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So they're like, we need a new look. That's the first like thing they jump to, and then the second thing they look to is like, we need to be doing this influencer marketing and ad advertising.
Yeah,
social media advertising. And I'm like, well, I can help you with the look part. But when it goes to the world of advertising, that's a whole nother game that I don't know if you're prepared.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that you just spend a little bit of money and it's going to make you all this money. And you need to come to this conversation with the war chest.
Yeah, right.
You better.
They don't know that customer acquisition as a cost.
You better be ready to bleed because you're going to bleed a little while.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I think there are strategies of like how to actually, there is a world where you acquire customers profitably, but it's just the way that you do it has to align with your brand. And I think there's always a lot of brands that come to us, they say like maybe they ran ads before. There's always like a current arbitrage in advertising. You see Rise blowing up on TikTok Shop. That's current arbitrage, super cheap. They're blowing up because of that arbitrage right now. Facebook ads 10 years ago.
Explain arbitrage to the listener.
Sure. So arbitrage is just when you maximize value, take advantage of kind of like a
trend.
Yeah, a trend, but like something that's very undervalued, right? So in the past, you could spend on Facebook ads and you'd reach 1,000 people for pennies on the dollar. Now the CPMs are much higher, $5, $10. You're spending more, cost per milli, cost per 1,000, right?
There you go.
So we were in a board meeting, like a big meeting of a big brand in Dallas earlier this week, and their marketing team was just throwing out random KPIs, like 100 million impressions. And I'm like doing the math. I'm like, guys, it's like, this isn't even like, do you know like what it takes to do this? Like 3.6 ROAS, people just throw a return on ad spend, right? All these metrics are kind of just like, they don't mean anything unless
arbitrary
you fully
numbers
understand.
It doesn't, you don't really know what it means until you see that bottom line statement.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have a mutual client that you guys have been working with, and like I have access to their Shopify, so I can see the numbers that they're doing. And I know pre working with you guys and post pre was like sort of like Yeah, it wasn't very satisfying to look at. Now when I go and look at it on a daily basis, I'm like, wow, you guys are like kicking ass. And I talk to him and he's like, yeah, but it's still expensive. We need to find a way to make it. We need to find a way to either on the product end make the product cheaper or get the ads to be cheaper, because even though we're doing this volume, it's still just a little bit better than break even. And I'm like, well, what is it? Like, how do you get better there?
And it's what battle do you actually want to tackle, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg's not lowering your ad costs. You know, we can get more efficient as media buyers. That's our expertise, is to obviously be pushing the buttons on a daily basis to do what we can, test new creatives and lower that cost. But at the end of the day, the CPM I just referred to since 2013, whenever ads were launched, it's going up because it's just supply and demand. Tons of more brands are just spending on ads. So you're
competing with more.
The battle to
more fish in the pond.
Yeah. The battle to play, in my opinion, is less on customer acquisition costs, because I mean that's pennies to really make a difference. It's your lifetime value. So that's like the email, Klaviyo stuff that we refer to. It's your organic social
remarketing,
right? And it's your brand presence that you do, because that's the foundation and the kind of the bedrock of everything's built upon, in my opinion. So if you don't crush those foundations, people aren't going to resonate with your brand if you have shallow values or if you're not working with cool people.
Over long term,
right? So it's much easier to win customers back that you've already acquired than trying to just lower the cost of acquiring customers. So I'm nerding out. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Let's just start from the bottom. So listeners can understand, what is the process of onboarding, building a strategy, implementing a strategy, sticking to that strategy, and managing expectations throughout that strategy.
Great point.
Go through that process for me.
Yeah, I think one of your previous guests, Mark Amazon.
Brugman.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Shout out him. I really enjoyed his episode.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
He said a great thing. He says, I don't know until I audit. And that's the same kind of idea that we have. So in the discovery phases, it's like we're first trying to figure out, are you actively running ads? Have you previously run ads? A lot of people that might be listening, especially if they're brand owners or have a domain attached to Shopify, they're getting 20 emails a day from a broccoli head ads guru that's trying to pitch them services.
I get them.
Right. So you probably get them as well.
I get them.
There's a lot of almost like supplement industry, in my opinion. The barrier to entry to have an agency or run your ads is very low. So they're constantly getting hit up by these people. So what we need to figure out first is can we help you? So we're just looking at budget. We're looking at past trends. Do they have a good product? Sometimes there's products that some of shady stuff. Shady stuff.
Well, even not shady stuff, but if people try to get you to help them sell their hot garbage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All the time. And two, it's they come on or they have a dick pill or something, and they're obviously all their accounts are banned or some crazy stuff. And it's
because they said you want to make your pencil bigger.
Yeah. It's all stiff stuff. We don't touch that stuff. We can't even touch that stuff. We work with all the brands
you make a good point, because when I first started, I had clients that I made the mistake of thinking I could do everything.
Yeah.
And so I had some initial sort of ad clients that I was trying to run that service for. And the thing that I was running into was some of these cross brands that were coming from the gray area, trying to go into this more legitimate advertising space on social media, but all their shit was banned from something they did previously. And they were so mad at me because they were like, well, why can't you get this going? Why can't you get this going? I'm like,
why can't you unfuck me?
Yeah. I'm like, well, all your accounts are banned. And so you want me to make these ghost accounts that are attached to my emails. So I got to go make ghost emails. And I was like, I just don't want to be attached to it.
Right.
Because you may know this better than I do because you work in the dashboards, but it's really hard to get unstuck from an account.
Yeah, Meta, you can't contact Meta. You can't call up Meta customer support. They're just taking your money. And they have all the leverage. I mean, they have all the leverage. So.
Right. So and also if you attach that to your personal Facebook or whatever as a member or a representative of that, it's really hard to get unhinged from that connection of it, and you can't go do other things if you're now associated with something that's blacklisted.
Exactly.
So I was having that problem with a few clients, and I was like, you guys screwed me. Right. And they were mad at me because I couldn't run their ads. And I'm like, no, your stuff's blacklisted. So now we have to go and create new brands for essentially the same products to try and do this legitimately now, because something that you ran in the past, even if you're not running it now, has basically banned you.
Yeah. Total nightmares. I mean, we've run into a lot of brands that have been around for 10, 20 years that are trying to, I see Rise and Ghost crushing it. We got to do this too. And they jump in, they try to start running Google ads. And sometimes we jump in and they've been spending tens of thousands on Google ads for years. And it's just all India traffic. Just just like garbage bot traffic. Like a lot of these brands, if you've been running ads, you're working with a team or whatever, you got to make sure that like you're getting the right people on. There's just some simple mistakes that can really break and just waste a lot of dollars.
Well, some people just want to show those metrics to the client. Like, hey, we're
yeah.
doing good.
We got 3 billion views all in India from a bot farm.
Oh, this is crazy. So we had supplement brands more targeted to like women, premenopausal, maybe 35 plus women, and they work with like these bigger agencies, kind of like what you're talking about. You said, maybe you don't want to refer them to like the big dog or whatever, or like someone that's like the big guru, because oftentimes like these are like big corporate agencies that already are doing 10 million a year. So you're just getting dished to a junior team member and just kind of run the playbook or whatever.
And they expect you to spend $100K.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
And they're going to take half of that.
And then they charge, but we can talk about pricing next, but like they'll charge percentage of ad spend, which is just like, we definitely don't do that, which is just like, we're just getting more for you spending more. Just kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But this brand was working with a very well-renowned agency out in California, and they were running their ads, and they're processing retail orders through their Shopify. And so like one of their team members would go and purchase product, like a 10K PO or whatever.
A wholesale order.
It would get attributed to the ads. And then it's like totally not right. Like you're saying you're getting a 10x ROI when you're just a retailer. Like that's obviously not.
The data's all
screwed up. So that's the big thing is clean up the data is a big issue for a lot of brands.
Okay, so back to the process.
Yes. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Where you're currently at, what issues you're currently dealing with, what's your budget, what unfair advantages do you have? What I mean by this is like, do you have an influencer that's an owner? Do you have some, like we can talk about maybe on the product level, some like very unique selling point? Just pre-workout, just protein, like it's very hard.
Is there an offer or something like that?
Is an offer. What I love is supplement brands that have a very, very clear customer. If they're not like super mainstream, have influencers, like already have some brand awareness, you're better off being like, this super is my niche customer. It's like so niche. Like it's a 45-year-old woman that's like divorced and like literally like very specific. Cause then
I
want
to narrow down.
I want LARPers.
No, because that's what we're trying to figure out.
I want to sell a dick pill to LARPers.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised the calls.
Would you like to sharpen your sword, young man? Tired of being a squire, become a knight.
That's my AI ad right there.
Damn, Joey, that was good.
I know that would be good. That would be pretty good. We need to make a dick pill for LARPers now.
Damn,
it's gonna be great.
Damn.
What's a LARPer?
Live
people
action
who go
role-playing.
to like parks and with the foam swords.
Okay,
What was the movie? There was like a movie about this. You know what I'm talking about?
Like furries?
Yeah. Kind of. It's in the same like.
But that's kind of fetish.
That's live action role playing. But I mean, it is a type of LARP.
God, what was that movie? I know y'all know. The people who are listening know. What
McLovin was in this movie.
I know.
He was the LARPer.
Gosh, it's gonna kill me.
We'll come back to
like Comic-Con.
Yeah. Comic-Con. It's kind of
that's like.
Cosplay is like a LARP.
Yeah, it's a type of cosplay, but they really they roll
over
medieval.
the top.
They really get into
medieval.
Okay. Cool. We'll have to do that sometime.
Shout out DGen over at Superior Supps, Mad Supps. It's our client that's in. He's not in Armenia. I'm trying to think of where he's at. He's on the other side of the planet, and
Role models.
Role models, that's what it's called.
It's fucking role models.
He got us this cognac Armenian brandy from Armenia. So we're giving it a shot this time.
Cheers.
Thank you,
tastes
DGen.
like Windex, but I like it.
That's kind of sweet. I think it has a nice little.
It does, yes.
Look at the legs on it.
Oh, it's got legs.
It's got legs. It's a beautiful color. Just saying. All right, back to business. So you do an audit.
Yep, we do an audit.
And then after the audit process, budgeting. Okay, so
who's your customer?
What's a good budget to come in at?
How do you? Well, hold on. How do you like identify? Or say so somebody's a brand, could be anyone, and they're like, no, we want to go after everyone that like Ghost and Rise is at.
Yeah,
which is like a really really big net. Is there a way where what do you really need from a brand like that to like really stand out in that craziness of like the everybody crowd?
Yeah, I mean, like,
do they need an unfair advantage, like you were talking about earlier?
You need an unfair advantage. You need a hefty budget. Like, I think I see a brand that's probably there's a few brands that are trying to go over after that. Like you can definitely go after that market, but I think a lot of people just it's going to cost you a lot. Like you got to be ready to spend that, and you got to have some differentiator on the customers that you're going after. Like I said, so in terms of what budget you start with, like the minimum budget we'd probably start with on like one channel be $5,000 to $10,000 a month just for initial testing, and we're very clear on expectations that if you've never spent before, it's going to take a few months to
How long does
see
that
some results.
testing is like a few months, like 90 days?
Yeah, I'd say 30 to 60 days is like solid testing. And, at this point, we basically just say like, these are like the eight types of ads you want to run for your brand. Let's get those tested. That's like what we know works. And then we can kind of build from there. And one ad that I'd say like any brand should do is just a founder story ad. Like that is like the one ad every brand should start with, especially a starter brand that doesn't have as much brand recognition, to just tell your whole story in an ad.
Does it have to be real?
Yeah. So,
I don't know. Like,
More authentic, the better.
yeah, more authentic. If you have like an
I feel
actual
like you could also
story,
play into the other side.
So we call, I think you guys would like this because based upon what I've consumed. So you guys do like the reacting to the clips. We, in our world, in our Slack channels when we're communicating is like, how DGen do you want this ad to be? How degenerate, right?
Yeah.
Because you have like, so you have like Alpha Lion is one that's crushing it from like a D2C standpoint, and all their ads are like the dad bod destroyer. It's like dad bod, like
They get real granular.
I know that cooks for them. Like
they haven't
just
always been that
cooks.
way. They haven't always
Right.
been that way.
They literally like target divorcee dads.
Right. Like that's
specifically.
in my opinion, that's leaning towards DGen.
But that's really clever.
It's really clever. It's really clever, but it's like how you want to, that works. So it's like with the brand, it's like, do you want to be like a BPN that's like very like hybrid, high quality looking? Like where are you in the level? Because if you want to go crazy discounting divorced dad, then there's different ways of marketing.
You can run those numbers up.
So wait a minute. Back to how DGen do you want to go?
Yeah.
There are different DGen buckets you can go into. Like as far as like narrowing it down and making it granular, like what are you talking about as far
What are some ideas?
So all
How
the stuff that you guys react to, where it's like the liver detox or like unload your crap in 15
or like
days.
that chick who sells, what is it? The bee cake, bee bread?
Yeah, but what was her pitch?
I don't know. What are you saying? Like she's like a DGen selling to DGen?
Well, they did
Yeah.
use like they're always using some sort of like sexual
Right. So
annotation of some sort.
So,
some connotation.
yeah, so like there's so like in marketing, there's like psychological things you want to pull out, right? It's like how deep do you want to go with like kind of shitting on the customer and getting them insecure to buy your supplement to shred down. That's
But
like
in a way,
Interesting.
like the more DGen and the more insecure you go, the more customers you're gonna find.
right, but but then it goes back to brand, and it's like, do you want to be the high quality brand that's not using those
There's
tactics?
less consumers there.
Well, it
There
depends.
are-
No. There's more consumers in the broader market.
Right, but I'm saying like there are more DGens than there are people who are like, oh, I only want the
I wouldn't
finest, most luxurious bee
Like
bread
I
that
would
you
say
have.
like Ecovision's like really, really popular in the TikTok space because they target sort of the broccoli head people.
No, sorry, I'm not saying the customer's DGen. I'm saying me as a marketer, how DGen do I want to be?
okay.
both ways. I'm connecting all the dots,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I'm connecting them.
Because like there's like, I mean, for years, ever since the internet came out, there's very sketchy, scammy internet marketing tactics that we don't do,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what I mean. So like the stuff that Offline does absolutely crushes. I admire it. That stuff is awesome. It's very well done. But again, it's like, do you want to be calling out divorced dad divorced to daddy, those headlines? It's like, what does your brand want to really represent? And like, what's the longevity of this brand? Is this something you're catching lightning in a bottle to run a good offer and you're making some money now? Can you exit this? Like, all these different factors you have to keep in mind when
Are you
you're
building a brand over
advertising.
5 years? Or are you just
Yeah.
trying to run up?
When you saw Alpha Lion do the dad bod destroyer stack, did you like kind of hate them for a minute? Like,
No, I
God
loved
damn
it.
that's
I mean,
smart.
I loved it. No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I hated it.
It's like
but
an envy thing. You're like, fuck, I should have thought of that.
it's very good. And yeah, you can see a lot of these ads that are very basic and they work. That's the shit that works.
Divorced dad to daddy
Who
by
is it? It's
summer,
like Classic Teas or somebody
64%
that they
off.
kind of did like a similar campaign about
Classic
like,
teas.
yeah, they're like, hey, don't show your beer belly.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
For dad bods. It's like, here's a good t-shirt that drapes well, but it doesn't show your belly, but it makes your arms looks nice. And every man in their 30s is like,
That's a
"Damn,
good one. Yeah,
damn,
that's a really
me.
good one. Yeah.
That's
I
me.
want that shirt.
Yeah, I
Yep.
want that shirt that makes my arms and my forearms look good, but hides a little bit of my gut.
Right.
And they knew exactly that's that. Then they targeted specifically that, and they used that specific type of messaging in like 20 different ways and tested it out.
Yeah. So what probably happened with Alpha Line is that they probably were testing a bunch of different messaging for their stack or whatever. And they probably tested like shred down for the summer, they divorce a daddy, and they tested all these hypotheses, and then divorce a daddy that just started to cook. And they're like, okay, we're leaning all into that. And once you get to that point where you can see $1 in, $3 out consistently, you're dumping as much cash into
let's put 100,000 in
as much as possible. And that's like the dream for any brand.
Yeah.
And now it's much harder at this stage, much more competitive, but that's, I believe that they're doing it. I don't see their P&L. They could be at a massive loss just spending on Facebook, but you know, you never know.
That is very interesting. A lot of people do that.
Yep.
How DGen have you gone?
Not too DGen. Not too DGen.
on.
No, I really haven't.
What if you tried?
What if
you tried to get as
like
scummy and DGen as possible to get people really insecure to buy a product?
Yeah, you definitely.
Do you guys like pull up a whiteboard in the conference room and come up with these ideas?
Yeah. Actually, that is exactly what we do.
All right.
We say, this is Johnny. He's a 35-year-old man. He does X, Y, and Z. Let's think about like all his massive desires. Let's think about what his goals are, what his dreams are. And then you literally archetype and then try to just pick apart little Johnny over here and try to sell to him. Which is just the reality of it. Like, it sounds like weird, but this is what brands want.
That is effective
works.
marketing.
It's like, it's the playbook.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so what does it look like on your end executing this?
Yeah, so what I'm really good at now at this point, kind of like what you said, I'm sure you've faced this at Nutramedia. Like you said, you like would take on ads, you try to run stuff. I'm very clear being saying like, we do not touch Amazon. We do not touch label design. We do not do like, that is not our stuff because in the past, you know, I think maybe you said this in our podcast, like you could easily like get a contractor and you're an agency. So, you know how to sell a client stuff.
Yeah.
We're very clear on like, we just touch your performance creative, your Facebook ads, your Google ads, your Klaviyo email, SendLane is another platform people are using too. So email marketing, performance creative, performance ads. And then we run, if a company has a good enough budget, we actually run a few organic social medias as well. But
Okay.
What do you mean organic social medias?
like
Rumble?
Like posting their
like
content.
Instagram, organic content.
Just posting their stuff.
Like not your ads, like what you're regularly posting.
Just your regular posting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
On a schedule or some sort of thing.
Yeah.
We've got a couple clients that have like kind of hopped into the FDM CPG space when it comes to like foods and functional foods and stuff like that. And we're seeing they work with some like Instacart marketing campaigns or agencies.
That's actually pretty clever too.
I'm envious because the dudes that I talk to, like they don't like, I'm like, hey, what do you charge your client? And I'm like, that's like 10 times more than what I charge mine.
Yeah.
And they're all like, that's little numbers, homie. And I'm like, I need to be doing what you're doing because like you're making way more money doing this stuff. And it seems like it's a lot easier to do. And they're like, yeah. So that's sometimes where I get my my disdain for the supplement space because the margins are just slimmer and the volumes are a lot lower. But it's some company that's like, you know, selling a protein Cheeto or something like that is making 1 million units. And it may be in a, you know, 20,000 locations and they've got $250,000 to spend on Instacart or something like that.
I'd like to see how that Instacart ad kind of runs. It's like, would you like some protein and forced Cheetos?
I mean, I think it's just like a listing image, just like anything else. Like
So
it's,
like
it's
Amazon, I
keywords.
think.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, you
help.
make up a listing. You have some image cards. You have some.
I can see you have kale and frozen blueberries. What do you think of these protein Cheetos?
There may be a video, you know, but it's not always based just around like that type of media. It's mostly around.
How do you
like,
use Instacart more just so I can be in touch with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. The Instacart ad buying. That's like, maybe we need to do something on that. Cause that's probably a blue ocean. Like, I mean, like TikTok was a bit like TikTok ads, like any placement.
We can bring that guy in. He'd come down any time and talk about it, but it's just a different little world. It'd be
it's a
more in
whole
like
different
max tuning sort of space, like those guys. Those guys need to talk.
Yeah.
But the velocity and the numbers they do is like 10x the kind of stuff that we do.
That's insane.
At
But
least-
then
at
again, a
least from my
bag of
perspective.
protein and forced Cheetos is a much easier buy.
Yeah, and it gets more placement in more places. You know, anything grocery or FDM is going to like, it just, you're not, you know, it doesn't cost you $12 to make one. So like, you know, our customers are like, if you tell them, yeah, you should probably run like 30,000 units, they're like, yeeks. You know, we got a lot of people who
Yeah,
want to
like
do.
that's the MOQ over here.
Yeah, they're like, what? 30,000? That's the test batch. Like,
Yeah.
you need to build these boxes for master casings, and there's like, you know, I don't know, 64 of them in a master case box, and like the MOQ on those is like an entire truckload. It's like with energy drinks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like when we went and talked to Austin at Macrocap, I was like, what is like the buy-in here? And he's like, we don't really want to work with people in like a one-off PO. That's not how it works. Like,
No.
a lot of people come in here and like, oh yeah, I want 15,000 units, or most people in supplements are like, I want between 3,000 and 5,000 units. Like, no, what we're going to do is we're going to forecast how many trucks you're going to fulfill in a year. And then we're going to break that down quarterly. And so you need to fulfill like 100 and something trucks. Then we break that down as how many vats we need to, how many mixes and how many actual like fills that we need to do. And it comes out to being like in the millions.
Yeah.
So like, it's just so much larger of a volume of a game. And so we need to talk to Austin about bring him in here so he can be like,
Oh yeah, that'll
he
be
can
fun.
school people to be like, look, all these people trying to come in here and do onesie twosies, like single
Can't just
POs.
get a pallet of your custom energy drink. Who do you think you are?
I mean, you can, but like that no one's excited about that. There's
No.
not enough volume. There's not enough margin. The shit's too heavy to ship. Like you have to ship it by truckloads and not just one, several on a regular basis. Like our lost and found clients, like they're like, yeah, we only fill truckloads.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, hey, I've got a client that's interested in your energy drink. He's like, oh yeah,
How many trucks?
yeah. How many trucks can he buy? I'm like, oh, he wants like half a pallet. He's like, tell him to kick rocks.
So is that how you dictate pricing? Volume?
In a way, that's not how I dictate pricing, but it's definitely how I will like. That's how I can judge a brand's like longevity
Sure.
and how much they're going to be worth to Nutramedia in a long term.
Yeah.
And like, you know, people come in with small volumes and they scale rapidly. Some of them do. We did the first EcoVision fucking label, and I thought that was going to be nothing.
Right.
And I basically told that guy to kick rocks. He won't talk to me now, which was like my fault.
he's
right?
doing great.
Yeah, you know. So like that was
Really helped him out.
Yeah, I screwed that one up. I mean, I wasn't in love with the branding anyways, but it, yeah, I mean, I know how big or how successful a brand is based off just of their buying capacity.
Yeah.
So like when I have some guys that talk a real big game and then we go and do all this work for them and it takes months and months and months, and I'm like, all right, it's time to order. How many are we getting? They're like, 500.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about,
Right.
dude? We need 500,000.
Yeah.
You know, I designed this because I want, like, you're my client, so I'm going to do whatever you ask. But like, this was intended to have this massive amount of scale. If I knew it was this like small of an offer for this one particular product, then why do we spend all this time and money on this? Like, if you're just running 500 units to just try and sell it real quick, then let's just make something real quick and you sell it real
Right.
quick.
Yep.
Yeah, because no one's going to remember who you were 500 units
You
ago.
don't exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend $5,000 on a whole branding design, a whole packaging design, all that. Let's put together like $500, make you something in like 3 days. You
Yep.
get it to market. You get it produced within like 4 weeks, and it's already pre-sold. And then you come back with that extra money, and then we try and see how we're going to double down on that.
Yep.
That's the smart way to do it. But some of these people just want the vanity play. Like they want the everything because they see
Right.
what the cows are eating the greener grass on the other side of the fence. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, like let's just think about this. We don't need to spend this much money trying to make everything perfect right now, because the volume what you're doing it is kind of irrelevant to this point. Like you're
Yeah.
still determining product market fit when it comes to this particular product.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, I can judge a brand by that. I've got some brands though that you would think are like nothing, and we'll order like 100,000 labels.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't even know they exist. They're just a direct consumer brand that sells something online.
Right.
And I never talk about them, but like,
Or for a home shopping network. There's some of those.
Really?
well, this one brand that I'm talking about, like they're just a direct consumer online and they just own the Google ads game.
Yep.
They just have massive SEO
Yep.
for like NMN products and they completely kill it.
Yep.
And their margin is insane.
Oh, yeah.
And they buy the cheapest possible label they can buy. And we order them in rolls of several thousands at a time, all the time.
Yeah.
Like on a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah.
And they're just not slowing down on selling more of them. And if you were to look at it, you'd be like, well, I've never even heard of this. But I know that they're making money hand over fist, 10 times more than this other brand that has all
Go
these
look them up
branded
and buy some of
accolades
their
and all
NMN.
that.
Right.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
A lot of brands struggle to find like Like they see the brands that are crushing it, and I think they identify the wrong thing as to why they're crushing it. So like they'll see, you know, a brand have 40 different flavors for their pre-workout, and they'll think, I need to come to market with 40 different flavors of pre-workout. Or it's like the wrong thing that they're dictating as a brand success. And you have to see like, you have to really, if you're coming into this space, you know, you have to really figure out what your edge and strategy is. Is it going super hard on branding and like really developing that up? Or is it, like you said, just getting some SEO keywords and just ranking and just pumping product that way? Like there's multiple ways to do it. And it's oftentimes when you spread yourself too thin, that's where I see
So do you like the strategy of having variants and things like flavors, or do you think it's better to have like a core flavor or a core two or what works better?
I mean, the best e-com brands that crush D2C. So like you said, it's like, what channel do you want to crush? If I was to say my dream scenario, it would be like one product, maybe a few flavors, if that makes sense. And then like very clear customer, like you see AG1, even Alpha Lion, that's an offer. That's like the one thing that will just scale, because a lot of brands will come to us and they'll say, I want to run ads for like all my products. You're kind of spreading all that spend. For e-com, you just kind of want to be like, buy this. Like
this is the offer.
Focus. Like buy this right now. Yeah.
What are some offer strategies that you see working? Yeah,
for supplements in specific, I would recommend either going super low ticket or kind of high ticket, like an Alpha Lion stack. So the low ticket strategy comes with like the free, just pay for shipping. I'd say, I think Bucked Up probably was one of the first people to really crush that. That works really well. The caveat with that is that you're trying to just say free, just pay for shipping. Let's say shipping's $9.99. Your cost of goods sold is $2. You're shipping $6 and you're trying to acquire a customer for like sub $5. So you're maybe losing $1 or $2 on the customer.
How many of those people do you think are returning though?
A good amount. So we tested this with a pretty big supplement brand, and we were able to acquire customers for around $6, and we knew that like the 90 to 120 day lifetime value was about $25. So that means that like of that segment of customers, we were profitable within like 90 to 120 days. So maybe it's like 20% of them are actually buying a full serving in 90 to 120 days or something like that.
A full tub.
Full tub, or like they're actually coming back. And yeah, I have to rework the spreadsheet math, but essentially that was what we found, is that, okay, a good amount of them come back. And that's the thing.
So the entry offer is free shipping or free shipping with sample?
Yeah. So you'd say free, just pay for shipping. And so whatever that is to you. So oftentimes like a shaker, a few samples, maybe if you have like protein bars, you do like a couple of protein bars, just pay for shipping.
Not like a full.
Sorry, not
product.
A full tub.
Yeah,
You've gotta try this product.
I mean, if you want to go crazy,
it's like how Bucked Up did. They did this thing where they shipped a shaker, but it was like 5 different flavors.
Steel did the same thing.
Steel as well. Steel did forever.
So that
still works.
That's an offer.
Yes.
To the audience, that is an entry offer.
So try us out.
That just is getting them in your environment, giving them to give you money, and now you have their data, and now you can do whatever you want to remarket to them. That's the next step.
But 20% is quite effective. If 20% of those people come back and buy,
in 3 to 6 months, that's
good. If you have 100,000 people, then you get 20,000 people to come back and buy.
It comes back to like, okay, but then you have to focus on getting those people to buy, which is where all the email marketing, your brand. If you just like run this offer and don't talk to them at all, then obviously you're never going to get a purchase. So it's all that remarketing work. Right.
Okay. So let's go to the remarketing part. There's an offer, and there's lots of different ways to make an offer.
Right.
You can do sample campaign. You can bundle. You can do buy 1, buy 2, buy 3. We see some of those sometimes.
Right. Oh yeah.
You can bundle stacks where it's like buy this and combine it with these also, and you get all this for this value, and you get this much off. You see this at like AG1, where it's like you buy this, but it also comes with a cool glass and a K2 vitamin D, and it comes in this nice little box. So there's all different ways to build a entry offer. But what a lot of people probably don't expect is they think that you're making all that money on that first purchase, and however complicated that initial offer is. Let's just say AG1, for example. You buy the first box of AG1, it's like $74.99. What is it?
Yeah.
But
Too expensive.
Okay. Their formula is pretty stacked, but it comes in a premium bottle. It comes with a glass inserted
reusable premium bottle.
Well, no, I mean like the tub. The tub that the powder comes in is like a premium tub. And then it has that glass that it comes with, that nice glass with the brand on it. It comes with a little scoop that's like a custom scoop, which probably costs more than any regular scoop. And then it also has one of those little shaker things, right?
Yep, the frother.
Frother. Sometimes it comes with a
Sometimes,
frother.
yeah.
Sometimes they add in K2 or what is it, D2, K3?
Yeah, year-long supply typically is what I've seen. And sometimes, like, if they have different placements, like podcasts and stuff, it's different offers.
And all that comes nicely packaged and bundled into this beautiful box with inserts. So all in all, they're probably spending, 20 to 30 something bucks on this cost of goods just to ship it to you.
Yep.
Click the try once. What all comes with that one?
So try once is $99.
You're paying $20 more, but you get all the same shit?
Yeah. So
Kit,
that's
canister,
their 99's
shaker,
probably their
travel
break
packs.
even after all their marketing and advertising spend.
That's just a regular ass tub that everybody else has.
No, not really, because look, it's print direct on.
I mean, yeah.
And look at when he unscrews the bottle in the video. It's a thicker HDPE.
Do you have one of these?
No, but like it's definitely a custom tub. Like it's not a standard tub you just get from a manufacturer. It's a custom tub. It's shaped like one, but
Is
like
that a tablespoon scoop? Looks like it.
it's a soft touch mat. It's got thicker walled HDPE. It's direct print on. Like there's a lot of things about it that make it a little bit more than just your standard. Hey, do you got a green? It's a custom Pantone color. Like you can't just buy that from your fucking manufacturer. You got to go to China and get thing.
That's
All right, the
definitely bought
whole
in
thing
mass.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not just a label.
Yeah.
And all the labeling has to be done on the refill bag. Like they don't even have to put anything on the external.
I think the refill bag is just
okay.
like a
Yeah.
biodegradable pouch.
Yep.
That's really probably where they're making their money is on the.
Yeah. But some brands might, this is a mistake that I've had on calls where they say, okay, I want to be like AG1. And they think that the strategy to become AG1 is their formula or like having a greens powder.
No,
When
it's Andrew
like,
Huberman.
It's the influencers, it's the
the
lifestyle that they sell.
$3 million podcast deal they have with Joe
Exactly.
Rogan.
And the millions on ads and they're spending a shit ton. So, you have to be realistic, and that's why it's good to like ask people like TK or anyone here too, just to be like, what is actually like realistic? Just because like a lot of people have very wrong expectations when it comes to jumping into this space.
So after you formulate an offer, whether it's a bundle deal, it's a buy one get one, whatever the offer is.
Yep.
So like for example, I think the client that we're working with together, you buy 3 flavor full size, but it's at a highly discounted rate, right?
Yeah. So interesting. So that's like a 3-pack for I think 2. I think we ran that offer. Now that offer,
So it's like buy 2 get 1.
yeah. So that offer was doing well, but it's very high ticket. So we have to see with the client, do they want first purchase profitability or do they want to acquire a customer as cheap as possible? And so with that client, they actually wanted to acquire a customer as cheap as possible. So that game would be, we're doing just like a single bag with like a 20% off offer. We might offer like a free frother or something with that.
Okay.
So
So you change up the strategy.
we always test offers. If an offer is not cooking, like after a few weeks of testing, we pivot fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're just bleeding money.
Because you're bleeding cash. We got to just figure out what we're trying to do.
Okay. So what's the follow-up after ads get deployed, data starts getting acquired?
Yep. So we have the offer, ads deployed. So that means we told you, we gave you scripts to shoot yourself. Maybe, who knows, collaborate with you to shoot if it made sense, whatever assets you need to actually run those ads. And then we're making sure that you have, obviously your Shopify is good. Let's assume that your Shopify product pages are all good. And then they're going into a welcome series. Is typically, if we look at the customer journey, the welcome series flow is like the one flow that everyone goes down. So automation, this is so there's flows and campaigns when it comes to email marketing. Flows are working for you at all times. Campaign is like a social media post where you blast your newsletter.
A flow is like an automated thing that is set up to deploy based off of certain trigger parameters.
Exactly. Like you try to buy something and they say, oh wait, you left your cart. You get that email.
There's
That's
a flow for that.
Right.
A campaign is, it's 4th of July and we want to do buy one, get one, and it comes with this free shirt.
Exactly.
I find that like these techniques aren't exactly like new. These are things that have been done for decades.
Exactly. But it's all in the execution.
I've got a prime example that Eduardo's pulled up. I used to watch this home shopping thing called Cutlery Corner. If you've never watched it, oh my God, do you have volume on this or not? That's a flashlight. Oh no, it's a taser. Anyway,
Well, it's a flashlight.
No, it's a flashlight taser.
Oh, shit. That thing's badass.
Yeah, right before you did that too, I was gonna poke you.
This guy zapped himself. That flashlight taser, $24.
Yep.
I'd buy it just for novelty's sake.
What do you think of the customer acquisition on that? I mean, you have a flashlight taser here for $24. I mean, it sounds too good to be true.
I feel like you would buy it.
Of course I would.
Well,
I'm
then-
a fucking idiot. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's when the infomercials would be like, and then you get 3 for like $30.
Yeah,
and
but I
just
mean,
rank you up.
you still see that same kind of deal.
Same shit, same
Yeah.
stuff, different mediums. And there we go. We got hit with the AG1 ad as we're trying to watch this. So
He tries to sell Donald Trump. I have not seen this. I thought Tom Odell was dead.
A Donald Trump
7
knife?
years ago.
What else can we say about Donald Trump, which he hasn't said himself?
You know who actually does the most DGen marketing? Politicians do
Oh,
the
of
most
course
DGen
they do.
marketing.
Yeah.
Like, you ever get the text blast? Or you're
Yeah.
like, how the fuck am I?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very DGen marketing.
Exactly.
And yeah, it triggers people
It's
like
like-
instantly.
And they
Nuclear
have,
war is coming.
they
vote
have
for me.
all these different marketing companies that they proxy campaign on.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like supported by blah, blah, blah.
We got to get into that business.
Freedom first, fighters.
Yeah, and Meta has a lot of restrictions about stuff
Well,
like that.
like especially like people that are like far right wing, like conspiracy kind of stuff, selling them shit like a generator for their house.
Oh,
The
dude,
world's gonna
Generac.
go to
Yeah,
hell in a
yeah.
handbasket, and when everyone's out in food riots fighting in the streets,
Exactly.
you're gonna want to sit in the air conditioning.
Yep, that is exactly right.
Dang, Joe, you're so good at
we
this.
Understand, you know
Yeah.
DGen marketing.
Well,
you are
I
a DGen.
feel
You
like
are.
it innately comes to me.
Yeah. And Generacs are badass though. I would definitely buy a Generac.
They-
I mean,
Great
that,
ads.
that's like the
They're
same,
great ads.
or it's like, do you want to starve during the apocalypse? You need 3 months of food on hand at all times. Get our 5-gallon bucket of beans for you and your family.
You've been listening to
Save
like a bunch of
15% with subscription.
You've been listening to a bunch of InfoWars or
I
something.
just think it's stupid. I just like, really, I'm not going to eat beans for fucking 3 weeks. I'm going to be a cannibal before that fucking happens.
I don't know. I feel like some of that stuff you'd buy just out of straight novelty. The
Hey,
taser,
you want
the
5
taser
gallons of
flashlight,
beans?
you would
No,
definitely.
I yes, I would.
That's just straight novelty.
I actually have a taser in my lap.
Maybe the Trump knife too, just because it's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious, and that ad was funny.
So yeah, politicians, DGen, either aisle, they're using DGen.
We need to like
tactics.
create this as like a well-known niche, DGen marketing.
I know. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone say it. You know when you
Target
see it though. It's
your
like kind of one of
inner
those things.
shithead.
Yeah.
You know when you see it.
We know. Well, we talk about it all the time.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's also like the dick pills on Pornhub kind of ads.
Exactly. That
Do
is.
you want a bigger worm?
It's all DGen. Yep. DGen.
And it's so low hanging.
Yep. And it works. That's why you always see it. So, yeah, that's what I think I talked about before this. But like, you'd be surprised about how sophisticated your customer is. Like, you'd think you'd have to go deep into like the formulas and like really like try to educate them, which you can. But it's like sometimes just like see a
Goosebumps.
bicep vein. It's
Not
like
that,
okay,
It's not that deep, bro.
it's not that deep. But you need the high quality products to keep them around. So.
what constitutes a high quality product to you?
High quality product. I mean,
Or
if-
have you ever tried to like have to sell something that's just too damn fucking sophisticated?
I'm trying to think if any like specific supplement. Yeah, there's a few like some of the, like I said, that the 45-year-old women type products are like actually kind of sophisticated and valid. But again, it kind of, I think my job is to like, and my partner Canada does it really well because he's more educated on the formula stuff, is to kind of like hear all that and then kind of switch it to communicate
we
to
turn
that
this
customer.
into a DGen?
How do we make this DGen? So like when you know, it's just those buzzwords of like focus, like those really simple to understand words and copy that has to be
Make
communicated.
it as dumb as possible.
Exactly.
Is your thermostat on 65 degrees? Your vagina's drier than the desert? Buy this pill. It'll help you with your symptoms.
Yep.
So, going back to what makes a good product, do you think it's based off of?
Love that transition.
I try to keep Joey on a course. His eyes
That
are
was
red.
good. We need that. We need that. We need that comedic relief. It's been.
This is exactly what it was like when the entire time when we developed brands together.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's talk. Then Joey will come up with some genius thing, and then all of a sudden he's like, and it could be a dick supplement.
Why not?
Something about poop. I'm like, okay. All right. Okay, so like,
High quality product.
is it formula? Is it flavor? Is it offer? Is it a amalgamation of those things? Is it branding? Like, what makes a high quality product from a marketer's perspective?
I'd say formula and brand. Like, I think that's really what keeps a customer around. I think you in this day and age, because the market's getting more sophisticated, where you actually have to have a high quality product. You're not just throwing proprietary blends and things in there. The customer is somewhat conscious of what they're consuming. So it's like, okay, that's going to live up and stack up against your competitors. And then you have a story or something attached to it, a brand, messaging, some values that the customer can align with, that keeps them buying every single month from you. That's how I feel.
Do you think people attach themselves in the story to like an individual, like let's say an influencer or something like that? Is that a big driver?
Yeah, I think that's one of the ways. I think like you see BPN, I'd say that's one of the ways they crush it.
Because they feel like they have an emotional attachment to
right.
What's his name?
Nick Bear. And like the lifestyle too, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're selling that lifestyle, and that's where they've capitalized on is like the hybrid athlete. Like that's BPN. We think of a hybrid athlete, you think BPN. So if you run, you're doing BPN. So it's kind of like those specific niches or customers you can work with.
Is it important to have somebody who's creating content like on just a rapid basis?
Yeah.
I mean, like we had Max on last week, and like that guy is a content making machine.
I know.
He's making content while he's here.
I know. He makes 4 pieces of content, like long form, high quality pieces of content that go out every single week. And he's got it down to a science. And one thing I'm also noticing is that like people who are creating content on YouTube specifically, that and TikTok, but most like YouTube content creators have a lot of buy-in from their audience because they feel like they know them.
Yeah.
Like there's just like sort of a, what's that word where it's like you have an emotional
rapport.
You have an emotional attachment to a creator that they don't know you, but you feel like you know them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's a word for it.
Creepy.
It is creepy, but it's a true thing, and it's why people buy things. It's like the same reason, like I probably feel like I know what, like I feel like I'd be cool with Joe Rogan. Like if he's sitting here, I feel like we could chill.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But whatever he's going to be pitching, I'm probably going to be buying because I feel like we have a
You feel like there would
some
be an
goodwill.
authentic recommendation there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you get that much stronger with YouTube. I don't get it at all with TikTok, but yet TikTok just seems to be able to run things up just based off of its velocity of explosion of eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like you can just take one person who's not known at all, and then you can get 1 million people to watch it if it hits the algorithm right, or if it's just something that's interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook is a lot harder these days to get people to get a lot of buy-in. And the cost of acquisition is really high. Mm-hmm. So, like, how do you win there in that space?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think YouTube is the best place because it's also just like held up over the years. Mm-hmm. Like you think of Max Shooting, he's been doing it for 10 years, and YouTube's been that one platform where TikTok or Instagram, like I feel like people rise and fall on that really quick. Like if you actually have a YouTube audience, it's very easy to sell to them. But then I think a lot of companies struggle because, you know, maybe they just are great at formulating good products. And it's like, okay, how are we going to produce content? Mm-hmm. And I always encourage as much as possible to do it in-house. And if that means using us to do it in-house, like we will, I'm sure you do as well, like send videographers out to capture with them. Like you don't want to just get actors and just stock imagery.
I say that all the time. I'm like, are you interesting?
Yeah, right.
If you're interesting and we can put a camera on you, this could work. But
exactly.
Just know that like you're going to have to pay for us to put a camera on you for like, you know, for several hours a week. And then we got to go back and we have to edit all that. Like that's going to be pretty costly. So your barrier to entry here is high if you're using an agency to do something like that. The best way somebody can do that, if you're interesting, that's the caveat. If you're boring as fuck, no one cares. Mm-hmm. If you're interesting, just go fucking hire a kid who's like 18 and has a proclivity to use a camera.
Yeah.
And you can pay those kids like 18 to 20 bucks an hour and take them to all the places that you go. And they'll love the fact that you put them on an airplane and go to Las Vegas and you know, go and eat at fancy meals and talk to important people. They'll love being in that bubble, and they'll do it for a low cost, a lot more than if you go and try and pay some people like us to do it. Because I guarantee you, I'm gonna charge you like 10 grand to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're not interesting, boo hoo. Like I can't make
it's got no views.
Yeah. I can't make you interesting, guy. Like we have some clients that are, you know, they're like celebrity people. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's difficult to get them to do content because they're so hyper focused on their own likeness, and they don't want to do too much like branded stuff. So it's really hard to sometimes get these people with like high celebrity profiles to like really actually rep the brand that they own.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And I don't know why, but I guess they're just hyper sensitive to like their own optics. I don't know.
Or like when they're on, they're on. And when they're not, they're a hot fucking mess.
Oh yeah. 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 I've seen it. Where it's like, I thought you're
I'm definitely one of those people for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. You're pretty always interesting. If I followed you around with the YouTube, I think people would just be like enamored with like.
It's weird.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. It is a show for sure.
Yeah. Just go to like watch you just like eat on a daily basis. Like, you have the weirdest diet of any.
Just cereal.
Super nutraceutical expert in the world. It's
Dude,
like
my nephew bust my balls because I have these things. I call them cat food, and I saw him at Expo West, and I fell in love with them.
I remember you getting that, and I literally said it looks and smells like cat food.
I bought a whole case.
Oh my God.
Anytime I'm hangry at the office, I'm eating those things. And it's just so efficient. It's like a meal in a tin. And I'm just like, and Garrett's like, you're fucking gross.
It's literal
Is it
cat
meat?
food.
Is it meat?
It's got actually like wild caught tuna. That's really
Fish,
good.
dude. It's like fish and nuts and bird.
It's not that
No, it's
scientific.
a quinoa salad. It's got olives and like tomatoes and peppers, and it's like this slab of tuna that's in there.
Forgive me if you already talked about this on the pod before, but how do you feel about the artificial chicken production?
I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Okay. Like if that makes a vegan happy, then great. But you know, other than that, you know, I love real chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, like I have no emotional or moral qualms about consuming, you know, other creatures. Cause I think even plants have souls and, you know, like life feeds on life.
Fair enough.
I remember one time you told me you wanted me to. I was cooking something for you. We were cooking something, and you were like, "Burn it! I want to taste the carbon."
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Sometimes there's just a sick part of ourselves that you can't scratch that itch any other way.
Yeah, yeah.
just
Joey's,
wa- I just
Joey's a
wanted-
big fan of pork too. Like,
Yeah, all kinds.
Yeah.
all kinds. Apparently, it contains the most creatine out of all the meats.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
thought it was red meat.
Pork gummies.
That's what I would have guessed.
What, the pork contains the most creatine?
No, that red meat does.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed too. I would have said, yeah, give me like a, you know, medium rare steak and I can get all the creatine. No, have some sausage, have some ribs.
Interesting.
The other white meat is the most superior creatine source.
But it's also higher in fat and less protein.
Who gives a fuck? You get all the creatine. Yeah, totally. And no, like I do eat a lot of weird stuff. Sometimes I won't eat it all. Sometimes I'll binge on fucking garbage.
Yeah, but you also like dingy food. Like you'll seek it out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like so, my nephew Garrett, he also found this place in Katy. It's called Feast Buffet.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
I have not gone yet, but it's like cuisines from around the world. Like
Nice.
it's not just a Chinese buffet. It's also an American buffet, a Mexican buffet, a Japanese and sushi buffet.
Probably all frozen food.
Don't know if I would eat the sushi at a buffet. Just saying. But anyway, like you have like all these choices across the board, and I'm gonna take my enzymes and starve myself for a couple days before I go.
And go just chow out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do miss going to like Wiener Schnitzel with you because you'd be like, I feel like a really.
Oh, I've been craving that one
You'd be
lately.
like-
I'm like, Liz, we need to go to Wiener Schnitzel. And she's
feel
like,
like
I'm
a-
never going with you.
I feel like a really dirty, greasy hot dog right now.
No, not even a hot dog. It's like bratwurst, specific
Oh yeah,
bratwurst.
Okay, those brats are pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's been too long. It's probably been like 5 years since I've had me some schnitzel. Proper.
See, that'd be a good show.
Anyway, let's take a break and we'll come back at 5 after a pee break. Supp Works podcast.
What's up, everyone? TK back here. I'm going to talk to you guys about the Supp Works podcast. For everyone that's been listening in since we started this thing in January, I just want you to know that we are so damn delighted to have you guys as listeners. The audience has grown, the engagement has grown, the viewerships have grown. It's been pretty wild to see. But with all this growth, you know, it comes with quite a cost. And that's why the Supp Works podcast is looking for sponsors. Now, we have started off with some sponsors in the beginning, and they were great partners. partners. But to be honest with you guys, I never really charged them because I didn't feel like our audience was large enough to basically pay for whatever cost I was having to expend in doing the podcast. And just so you guys know, these podcasts, they cost a lot of money. We got to fly someone in. We got to put them up in a hotel. We feed them. We usually take them out to some sort of event. It adds up. It costs quite a bit. And we subsidize these costs with sponsorships. So if you own a business, whether it's in manufacturing, you're a raw ingredient supplier, you own a brand, maybe you have some sort of supplement or CPG type service that applies to the supplement industry or the CPG industry as a whole, and you think that our audience, which is usually movers and shakers within the CPG industry, you're talking CEOs, owners of businesses, top sales executives, and then the whole gambit in between super users all the way up into founders of companies basically listen to our podcast. If you think that audience is for you and it would work for your business for us to advertise on this platform, hit us up. Just send us a DM. Send us an email, tk@nutramedia.co, or send Joey a DM, and we can talk about our sponsorship packages. And basically you get this. You get a 1-minute table read where we talk about your brand. And obviously this has got to be something that we approve of and we support. But if there's a good partnership there, reach out. Maybe we'd be interested in having you as a sponsor. So if you want to sponsor the Supp Works podcast, just go ahead and hit us up. And you can have your table read right in the middle of the podcast while we do our breaks, just like now. Did you guys happen to see the presidential debate last night?
Yes, I wanted to start the podcast.
I was too. I was going to make that joke. I was waiting for that.
Oh, man, I'm embarrassed.
What do you think, Pat?
Well, I'm a huge left-wing guy, and I love vaccines, and I love Biden.
I doubt it. The man's from Boston.
Yep, born and raised.
You know what's interesting is how old are you?
24.
Okay, so you're 10 years younger than me. What's your perspective on how fucking jaded are you? Because I'm pretty jaded.
Yeah.
I don't even know if jaded's the right word.
I think it was all intentional. I think you'll have Newsom jumping up on stage next week.
Man, that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
It was all just so he could...
Everyone was shitting on him.
I've also heard that he did a shitty job because it was all part of the plan. So he could take the fall for fucking COVID and all kinds of weird other shit. All the Ukraine spend, everything shitty that has been done in the last 4 years. Just he would take the fall for.
Someone to blame.
Yeah. He's the fall guy.
Yep.
I didn't think Newsom. I thought they would replace it with Kamala or Harris or something.
Yeah. She's even
to be honest, I don't feel like
par.
either of them are compelling.
Well, we know that Gavin Newsom is a scumbag, but at least he can make a cohesive sentence.
He's got the look.
Yeah.
The bar is currently set so low, anybody could slide in.
So my whole take on all this, just from ISS, International Space Station vantage point, is 300 million people, and these are the two fucking people.
This is the best we got.
That's the bet. That's it. That's the cream of the crop. There's too many smart, compassionate, brilliant entrepreneurs, business savvy people who there's just too many people in this.
Why aren't they stepping up?
Just like Trump.
Why aren't they stepping up and instead they're endorsing these fuckwads?
I don't know. I'm not going to
Both of them. Fuckwads.
Yeah, I agree. They are both fuckwads. I was embarrassed to watch it. I watched the RFK one. I watched the one on Twitter.
How'd he do?
I'm
Way better than those guys.
I'm an RFK guy. I'm just going to come out and say that for everyone. I've always been an independent dude. I wasn't super impressed.
Still, yeah.
Here's his problem. First of all, no one wants to fucking listen to him. His voice sucks.
Yeah, well.
It's hard to listen to. Even though the things that he says has got...
Even though he's more cohesive, it sounds like there's just something wrong with him.
There's a lot of WTF there. Because you think about politicians and the world that they live in, they've got to be jaded as fuck. The moral compass when you're in that type of world around those type of people with that type of money, with that type of influence, and you're triangulating between lobbying, federal agencies, and then, big business, basically, that's siphoning money through lobbying, and then there's politics. These three things are always playing with each other and leveraging one another. And we are all just a part of this. We're all just sitting here watching it without ability to actually really enact anything. We're powerless to it.
So we think.
Well, to this point, look what happened. I wouldn't vote for any of them if I had a choice.
No.
I think the best choice is probably RFK, but I don't think he really did great at that debate. Like,
There needs to be like a write-in for like let's just do a mulligan, or let's just like not have anybody, like nobody.
I think you just start over. Like, no parties, just completely start over. That's what I would like to see.
That would be great.
But it's like impossible to do because everything has to collapse first and then you have to rebuild it. And so there's just too much attachment to those three things that I said. Between politics, lobbying, corporations, and three-letter agencies, there's too much cahoots going on between those three parties.
If there wasn't so much cahoots, we wouldn't be in this mess right now.
Exactly. It has completely ran away with some ghost government that's completely, some global government that's completely stolen our government, and they've stolen our current administration, who's, I mean, like, I don't see how anyone could possibly vote for Biden. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry if you're a Biden
I loved
supporter.
it when Donald Trump said, I have no idea what you just said, and I don't think you do either.
Very valid point. And Trump doesn't really ever say anything that's a solution. He just talks shit about other people.
He did a lot of that. Jon Stewart had a really great synopsis where he's like, Trump just had to not bully him. And then he proceeded to fucking bully him.
Really? All he had to do was shut up. What's the guy at Barstool Sports?
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, he tweeted, he was like, Trump just needs to not talk and just let Biden
I
destroy
feel like
himself.
he did, though. I feel like he, compared to other debates, you
True.
know, they did shut off the mics and it was kind of like,
Which I'll
weird.
say, I actually thought that format was okay. I didn't mind it.
Yeah. But the golf tangent, what the fuck?
Stupid.
We're not here for a pissing match.
Yeah.
Not that kind of pissing match.
Like, we went into this knowing that it is to a point contrived because CNN is putting on the broadcast. They're creating the questions. They're in control of the microphone. They have a 1 to 2 minute delay. There's a whole bunch of levers that they have that are in their play.
That's
to
why
give
it's
them a
hard to
competitive-
believe that like Biden flopping so hard was not intentional.
I agree. He was going to flop anyways because, I mean, come on. Like, it's sad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy, even though, like, I know, like, the whole administration's probably fundamentally evil. That guy probably isn't. He probably is just fucking gone and just gets jabbed every day with some new, upper, some B vitamin or some shit. You know?
He missed his dose on that one.
No, I don't know. I thought actually he was more coherent in that than he was in the other things I've seen. So they're all bad.
Yeah, like we're really splitting hairs for this.
I was really
guy.
rooting for RFK because I watched his broadcast and I was like, all right, he's going to come with some really hard hitting solutions with these questions. And he ended up doing what everyone else did was he whiffed the question and he went in basically talking about what the other candidates were talking about in a pissing match. I was like, here was your opportunity to just come with solutions. You didn't even need the whole 2 minutes. Like you said, like in marketing, make it really stupid. Like just break it down. This is the problem. The problem is immigration. Okay, here's a 3-step phase of solutions. 1, 2, and 3.
Yield the rest of your time.
Yield the rest of your time and then let them ask Biden that and let him bumble and ramble on.
yeah.
That would be a really good strategy, in my opinion. Instead, he just like would attack his other two. And I'm like, RFK, like, what are you doing, Bobby? Like, you had an opportunity to actually like be classy here. And even your host, the guy who was putting on the, what do you call it? The
Moderator.
the
One guy
moderator,
debate,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, like he was real. He was like, okay, I guess you didn't answer the question either. All right, on to the next one. He's like, okay, I guess we're just going to go over 2 minutes because, we fuck the rules. Who cares?
It was like, they'd be like, you have 80 more seconds. And my question was about opioids. Back to a different subject.
Yeah.
The abortion question turned into immigration. Like that was
Yeah, I didn't
like,
see that one.
God,
I didn't see that one.
it's like, come on, can we stay on topic?
No, and then like the first half is supposed to address the question, and the second half, the whole thing is supposed to address the question, but they like
Rebuttal.
yeah. So Trump's like whole position, his whole format is first few seconds is some sort of quip, right? What my opponent said is stupid. I'm smart. I'm funny.
I'm so great. I'm so great.
That's the
I'm
second
the greatest
part.
great.
His meat part is I'm great. I did all these billions and millions and billions and millions. They just say numbers that don't mean anything. They're just arbitrary.
That was the other thing. He would just like say some blatant outlandish shit. Biden wasn't with it enough to call it out.
Well, he said some stupid shit too. He didn't have his numbers right either.
No one had
100
numbers right.
trillionaires.
Yeah, they just
Billionaires?
bumbled around with numbers that don't mean anything. And then the end, the third section, they would just stab at each other. You know what I mean? Then it was just a pissing match. So like
It's like
each
two
of them-
old men fighting in a wet sack.
Exactly. If you asked them each 21 questions, all three had the exact same format, and it was just kind of like there's no substance in any of these. Old man 1 probably should be sleeping right now. Old man 2 just wants to talk about how big his wiener is, and old man 3, he has some merit to what he's saying, but he's still not answering the fucking question.
But there's some wires loose in that one. We don't know what they are. It sounds like everything's right, but something else is really fucking wrong there.
Yeah. I mean, I like that RFK like lifts and he's in shape. I think that's pretty cool.
Props to him in a lot of different ways, but still, I think he's still just too old. He's just too old for the job. We need someone.
Agreed.
You know, remember when Obama went into office and he was full of piss and vinegar, and by the time he left, like there was significant soul sucking that happened.
Yeah.
He went in with a full head of black hair. He left, and that shit was all fucking gray on the way to becoming just completely white haired. They drained him of his vitality, and I don't think Trump or Biden has really got it in him.
No. Well, no, I think they've been completely soul sucked and they're just like a shell. Honestly, like these people,
maybe
I don't
they're-
even think they're real people at this point. They don't even know who they are. Like they don't do any introspective, like they're not going to fucking therapy and talking to somebody being like, do you really know who you are and what your purpose is and what your passion is?
But you don't want a president who's in fucking therapy. Well, I don't know. I'd
No.
settle for that. I'd settle for that right
it's
now.
not about that. It's not like, oh, you're crazy, you have to go see somebody. It's introspective. Like, do you really truly understand yourself?
Yeah.
And you have presidents who are just they're simply they're caricature of what everyone wants them to be based off of whatever their voting base is. Like, is Donald Trump
pandering, yes.
the pandering to a certain point where you've completely lost your self-identity and now your identity is this thing that you've been created in the image of yourself.
Well, they have to morph with all their pandering into
Yeah.
this other creature that they think is the most marketable to as many people in America as possible.
Exactly. But that's soul sucking. Like, you're no longer a human, you're an NPC.
Yeah. I mean, you are a collectively crafted NPC that was made this way by all the different voters.
And your group of people who are in your circle that have like all fed you this, narrative.
I mean, why can't we have like a cult of personality that just like stands behind whatever the fuck freakishness they are and people buy it or they don't?
I feel like that's what Donald Trump's supposed to be, but I don't know.
But he started pandering. Like that's the problem between Trump v1 and Trump v2 is that, he let his freak flag fly. The fuck you vote came right through behind him. He was elected in 2016. And then he started to do a little bit of pandering and, obviously he was a fucked up, corrupt guy to begin with. So 2 impeachments and a whole bunch of pressure from the establishment later. He's out. Biden's in. Biden's like fucking Weekend at Bernie's president, It's just, no, he's alive, whatever. He is the sharpest guy here. Look at him. No, he sounds brilliant. I don't know what you're talking about. So we've done that. And then all the while, Trump's like, well, maybe I should become this, that, and the other. And then he's like trying to take on all these other things. There was one rally where he said like, a new Reich. We're going to form a new Reich and it's going to be the greatest that America's ever think. It's like, are you really pandering to the fucking Hitler crowd?
You can't say that.
Are you kidding me?
You can't say that.
You don't want the Nazi vote. There's not enough of them. Jesus fucking
real?
Christ. Yes, it was real. He used the word Reich at a Republican
Sounds like
rally.
fake news.
It's just ridiculous. Like, come the fuck on. Like, you can't be that fucking tone deaf.
Yeah, but here we are.
But and
Here we are.
don't pander so hard right or so hard left that you're just gonna fucking lose everyone in the middle because that's really where your big voter block is.
Yeah, where are moderate presidential candidates?
I think this is intentional. I think they're trying to get it to where we can have some sort of like centrist cult of personality. Is like, hey, let's just be fucking normal.
No, I think there's been a complete fucking takeover, and there's just.
Well, here's the thing. Trump wins. It's going to shift way hard right, even harder, like super duper fascism. Biden wins. It could go super fucking fascism the other direction.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
all of it is nonsensical.
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, do you want, I mean, like pick your,
What flavor of oppression would you like?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's also a reason why RFK like wasn't on CNN, right? Because like both of these people are obviously pandering to mainstream media because that's the only way they're going to get the attention of the boomer vote. And so RFK is like completely against me. He's like, you should go and find your own medias in order to get your information from. So you can find your pick your brainwashing, if you will, but don't do it from mainstream broadcasting. And mainstream broadcasting,
How many
CNN,
how many more years is it going to take for the millennial generation to actually like step into their power?
the boomers have to die.
Well, that's already happening.
They have to die faster because they're still.
I thought COVID did a pretty good job of taking a
Okay,
swipe.
and maybe that was right. Maybe that was contrived to a degree, but like you just have more of them, right? There's a larger population of this particular age group, and the two places where they're consuming their media is Facebook and mainstream media. They're not on Twitter. They're not on TikTok. They're not on
All of that
Instagram
is
like
so
us, like we
easy
are.
to control. All of it is.
Well, Facebook is completely controlled and mainstream media is completely. That's what I'm saying. That's why you don't see RFK on those ones, is because they simply do not want him talking on those platforms because they oppose each other, because he's anti-fucking vax.
Well, even
he's
if-
anti-fucking Pfizer and Moderna and all these pharmaceutical companies, and they're their largest monetary contributor to ad spend. You know this. Like, you know how ad buying works, right? So like they're not buying up all this ad spend on CNN to show the ad. The ad is irrelevant. It's about market share of
They're
that.
buying that time.
They're buying that
to where
time.
this other guy can't buy that time.
Exactly. And if your customer is making up 90%, 98% of your revenue, you cannot lose that customer or your business falls, right?
Right.
So that's the control that they have. That's why you can't have anti-MS mainstream media and anti-pharmaceutical candidate come on those platforms. They oppose each other. That's what's fucked up about it to me.
Yeah. I mean, that it's anti-competitive in that sense.
It's yeah. But,
So no other
but you
voices
notice
will
both
be
of those
heard.
candidates pandered to that because they both wanted to pander to the boomer vote.
Trump wanted to say like he's a hero for COVID, and then like at the same time you've got Biden over here is like trying to force all the vaccinations. It's like, you know, neither scenario are really good because a lot of people are getting fucked up by all that shit, and a lot of like the generations, the younger Gen Alpha,
They're both
fucked up by COVID.
equally guilty, like in the same sense with COVID. Like I think we all have come to an agreement that COVID wasn't what we initially thought it was. Now I know me and you. When this whole-
we initially thought it was exactly what it was.
Yeah, like we always, and I remember sitting on a panel where you were listening to like a bunch of like Harvard like professors and stuff. Y'all, there was like 100 scientists talking on this Zoom call one time. And I remember being in the lab with you, and like it was just like every single one of these guys is just trying to figure out who's going to win the Nobel Prize for figuring out what the problem and the solution. They didn't actually really care about helping people or blah, blah, blah. It was like, all right, I'm team Harvard. I'm team Boston College. I'm team MIT. I'm team, Seton Medical, whatever.
Yeah.
And they had all these different entities that are probably being funded by public funds through some sort of
NIH,
political.
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're team steering, and all they're trying to do is get their gold star for their team so they can say, we got this. We figured this problem out. And really, the problem really wasn't that big to begin with.
Or it was so interesting because you have all these people that had all these COVID symptoms, and the data that they were getting was really muddied up by all the comorbidities and all the other problems that weren't necessarily directly related to COVID, but of the demographics of people that were getting the most adverse effects from getting COVID.
Yeah, and so that data, and you know this from a marketing side, sometimes you can get paralysis by analysis. You get too much data, and the data gets muddy.
They were so guilty of
and
that.
murky, and the data acquisition is fucked up. Like you were talking about earlier, like if you have a wholesale buyer buying $10,000 on the D2C, like it's going to fuck up the data points. And you don't know who's going to attribute to like what this the thing was. There was a lot of that with deaths in hospitals, and was it COVID or did that person die by getting hit by a fucking train? But they also fucking had a cold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, they died of COVID or whatever in the hospital.
Or like that episode of South Park where that kid got shot in the gym. That kid died of COVID.
Exactly. Like,
And then that gets put in the data.
yeah. So all very contrived bullshit that both of those presidents, I think, are both very guilty of. We didn't need shutdowns. We didn't need vaccines. There's a lot of things we didn't need that we were forced upon, and both of them were a part of that. And it's all within this weird bubble of big pharma, and
it was a worldwide fire drill that sold a bunch of vaccines that were not ready to go to market.
Yes, and it also attributed to like new wars and things like that. So like, there's just all these different economic things that we're trying to hit reset on. And I understand why, because like we have boomers because we had wars. And so they're trying to create wars so we have a new spree of boomers. And it
because the population's declining?
Yes.
Not just in our country, but in other countries.
Exactly.
And the thing is, the boomers in the Industrial Revolution and everything created this massive swell of wealth because there were so many people, there was so much economic activity, there were a lot of buyers, there were a lot of sellers, and there was a lot of commerce that went on.
Yes.
And when that population, and I've talked about this at length on the podcast before, that population is going to start to shrink. But it's going to move through the life cycle and cause more economic opportunities in all kinds of other different places. I'm sure the manufacture of Depends undergarments has gone up dramatically in the last 20 years because we've got this massive wave of people that were once like middle-aged and parents that are now suddenly starting to shit their pants. And therefore, you have a whole massive increase in the demand of Depends undergarments.
It's a larger consumer
Procter
demographic.
and Gamble's over there on the phone like, fuck, dude, we need to build 4 more factories because people keep shitting their pants. What's going to happen when all those people die? And all of a sudden, everyone who was working at their pants shitting factory no longer has a job because less people are shitting their pants, and all of a sudden the demand for Depends is going to go down. This is like a giant turd being squeezed through the intestines of this generation right now.
Of humanity.
And eventually we're going to pass this thing. The like cemetery business and the casket business is going to go fucking bananas. And then all of a sudden we're going to have to shut down a lot of like the means of production when it comes to like that portion of life. So we're looking at like everything from Depends undergarments to caskets right now. And that's every nursing home, every pharmacy, every little piece of
Healthcare.
end of care life.
Healthcare,
that is
insurance, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have all these industries that are going to be there trying to pump as much money out of these dying people as possible because these people also accumulated a massive ton of money.
That's true.
As they came down the pipe. Once they were in their earning years, now they're retiring, now they're about to start dying. It's time to bleed those fuckers dry.
Yeah.
But you've only got from the point they buy their first packet of Depends until they're in the fucking ground to bleed them of as much money as possible.
So you probably have 2 to 4 more elections of this generation. And the funny thing is our generation now, millennials and then Gen Xers or Gen Zers are now the workforce.
Yeah.
We're the people who are contributing to the Social Security. We're the people that are generally contributing to the innovations of all these new.
We are the new means of production. We are in the earning years.
We are, yeah. And but the fucked up thing is we do not have the same guarantee.
No,
It's a Ponzi scheme.
Because they're retiring, they're going to be bleeding all the Social Security and
We
everything.
don't have the same guarantee.
We're not
and
going
the same
to.
thing economically from like just acquiring wealth.
Because there is
when
an
it comes to like
inevitable
owning homes and appreciating assets and stuff like that. It's
forever.
It's a little bit more difficult to acquire wealth unless you find other means. And you're seeing people get really freaking creative with this, whether it's crypto or whether it's guys like Max Tuning who are creating celebrities out of themselves, where they're creating CPG brands out of their likeness, and they're able to scale themselves into millions of dollars. And all the while, our governments are trying to basically they're trying to put a rope around this, a lasso with it, by printing more money and creating more inflation. That's how they're trying to control this.
Because once all these people are dead, like it's going to collapse.
It's a bubble.
It's
a bubble. It just collapses.
It's a human capital bubble.
Yeah, and I think this is where Elon is really smart. Is he's like, well, when it comes to that point, there's probably going to have to be a universal income. Like everyone's just going to be able to get money so that they can subsist.
I still don't think that even makes sense.
Well, it does when you think you're a finance guy.
Yep.
So you know that like all money, like money is a note of debt, and a note of debt only has its true value with the notion of compound interest, and compound interest only exists because of basically how you inflate how much money you make or don't make, like create into the world. So like if I just traded you if I said, I give you a phone and then you give me services, and your services were equal to the exact same amount of this phone, no one would win. It would be an even bargain.
Right.
But that's not how businesses scale. Every single transaction, someone has to make more than the value of something. That's how consumer packages work.
Yeah.
Goods work. If I sell this energy drink, if it costs me $1 to make it, I need to make $3 for it to make a viable business.
Right.
And this is the notion of compound interest, how things have to compound. And then the way that you manage that, mitigate that, is with taxes, by increasing that. And because every time a transaction is made, people are taxed on that
Cost of
transaction.
business.
Right. So the problem is we're a spiraling debt.
Right.
They can never pay us that money back. It's not possible.
And you certainly can't pay it back when this really big generation of people dies. They rung up the credit card, and then you have a smaller amount of people that have to pay it off.
There's just debt floating out in ones and zeros over our heads. And
I think that's part of why this immigration thing is happening, because
I do too.
they got to bring in a lot more people to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Because the replacement rate is not there.
It's not necessarily pay the bills, but like attribute the debt to.
Yeah.
Like now you house this debt somehow in some sort of sense of slavery, whether it's
Oh, God.
you try and
Brought
purchase
up the
a
debt
home.
clock on
wow.
the screen.
Love that one.
The what? The debt clock? I've never seen that.
The national
Yeah,
debt
it's a lot. I mean-
versus the federal tax revenue per citizen. This is a very interesting clock.
So from a finance standpoint, like what do you think of all this?
Okay, so let me be very clear. There's a reason why I'm not in finance right now, although I studied finance. So I'm not like the biggest finance guy, but what I will say is that I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to like, you have to have some autonomy. That's why I'm like not even trying to jump in. It's a waste of energy to even think about and argue, in my opinion, or have like crazy opinions over, left or right. It's like at the end of the day, like, does that how does that impact your life? Now, if it's like you're sending your kids to school and they're getting crazy doctrines, or it's harder to do business, like the things that you really value, then of course that's where like I will be like having a very strong opinion. But at the end of the day, it's like, how much can you truly do as an individual with the whole broad thing? I think you're better off just focusing on yourself, trying to figure out what you can control, your community, people around you. So, I mean, like I probably lean right, have conservative values, love God, want lack of regulations, and that's where I stand. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just going to focus on what I can control in my neck of the woods.
I agree. When it gets difficult is when you start having things. When you start owing money and when you have kids,
right.
and it gets a little bit more complicated because you're trying to protect and preserve things.
Yeah.
And you're finding yourself struggling. And I'm not struggling, but I'm just saying, like, in general, like, people are struggling to be having things. And I don't necessarily think that's fair for everybody.
Yeah.
But me and Jardo were talking about this. Like, the funny thing is that, like, anyone in any sort of economic standpoint now has the equal opportunity to go and like make something really incredible.
That's something that the debate that I can speak to is that obviously Biden and the left would typically say like tax the rich and all about like the taxing the rich and stuff like that. But obviously like my big focus as an entrepreneur is maintaining that entrepreneurial spirit of the United States. And the reason why, not all, obviously there is corruption and there's malpractice in business and stuff like that, and find it in like Wall Street and everything. We don't have to get into that. Everything obviously.
Yeah.
But like there are individuals that built $100 million businesses that are getting taxed on when they buy product, when they sell product, every step of the way they're getting taxed. Okay, maybe they're buying real estate to offset their tax responsibility, but you can't be just saying that we have to like tax there's a reason they're creating so much value, all the jobs, all that stuff, So
this is a hell of a tangent.
It is. Sorry,
That's
audience,
good.
but yeah,
It's good.
Sorry we had to go to a dark place about everything that's fucked up with the world.
I thought we'd start there, honestly.
Yeah, that fucking debate was just. I mean, what do other countries think? And I know they're fucked up too, but it is just embarrassing. It's just flat out embarrassing.
That was my question. So, like, for you guys, what you think? Because it seems like you're both negative to both, which is totally fair. Like, I definitely think that.
Sorry.
The
is going to
U.S.
explode on me.
The U.S. looks weak with Biden. Obviously, do you also think Trump is not a flex of strength? Like I do.
I do. No, I do. I really do. Yeah.
I think it's like 2% better.
I would just say like
I see what you're saying, and I do think he is a flexus trick. I think that other leaders of other countries respect Trump more because he's a wild card, and because like he's not afraid to pull his pants down and show his nuts.
Yeah,
He'll pull the gun out and start swinging it around, and everyone gets scared.
Yeah, I like. Yes. So from that particular like economic standpoint, from an international standpoint, people, and I see this on or Twitter and all this place, like they generally kind of have a respect for Trump, even if they don't like him.
Yeah.
Or is it a fear?
Or fear, but
fear
that's
he's
fine
just
too.
gonna
That's a
be-
power measure. It really is. I mean, let's say we all fear Kim Jong-un. We all fear Putin to a certain degree. But like, there's a lot of things that I've been reading up on Russia lately that I'm like, damn, that dude's a fucking savage.
Yeah.
Like he brought all of the oligarchs of the richest people into Russia into a room and basically slapped them in the face with his dick. Was like, you guys are hungry, money, selfish motherfuckers, and you guys need to get in line with what we're trying to do as a nation. I wish somebody would do that to our people.
Yeah.
Bring in Zuckerberg, bring in Bill Gates, bring in Elon, like bring in all the richest people and say, look, you guys can be selfish and make your fucking money, and we're going to tax the fuck out of you, but this is the line we're going to walk as a country, as a nation. If you're going to support us, this is the line we're going to walk together, and we better get in line with these same values. And no one's doing that right now.
I think the one thing
No one's uniting anything right now.
No.
the one thing for me that defines Trump as the option is, and even Vivek when he was running as well as the other younger option, the same
him.
argument is that they don't have to be in this game of politics and they're true businessmen. And that's just like, I'm just pro capitalism, pro business. And like,
Same.
Trump should just
Because
be
this
golfing.
national debt thing is bad business.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Trump should be golfing and working on that handicap actually right now, but like he's still doing this shit. It's like, I would believe that to be doing that, you have to actually have some goal to improve what's going on. So
I mean, I asked that, like, is it,
Are these the cups we're using?
do not use that.
Yeah. Did you see that episode?
no, I don't think so.
He drank my spit one time.
Oh man.
The Rogue pouch was in the cup, and I thought it was the desiccant
that
from
is
the product.
crazy. Yeah.
We'll get back to CPG and talking business stuff here in a second, guys. I promise. We got a few products that we want to review and
Can you
just
get
talk
us some more
about.
cups, Eduardo? We have not mentioned this brand, but this is Bum by Raw.
Who's Bum? Who's that?
He's a bum.
They should bring on an influencer because I have no idea what that is. Maybe run
If
some
there's
ads.
anything you want to aspire to be, it's Bum.
I really like their cookies and cream label. It's just black and white. It just says cookies and cream. It's the most basic label ever, but it's beautiful.
Like that they cut through the noise with simplicity.
Yeah, I agree.
This is Bum
you know what?
hydration.
Blair's gonna be mad at me about this, but like, I do not like the way the energy drinks look. Like, I get it. It's like supposed to be nostalgic and kind of have like a throwback, like Duff beer kind of thing. Like it's supposed to be like a 60s, 70s type of
I like it
12.
for the formula, though. I like
No,
it
the
for
formula's great. And
Yeah.
They taste great too.
I like the 120. I think
I'm just saying the way they look, like it's
80, 90.
the idea
like
was
a retro soda or whatever.
Yeah, the idea was cool. The execution's weird, and a part of it that is because just the logo is kind of weird. It's just a hard logo to work with. The same thing with the Raw, like the RAW looks like fucking Flintstones font. And if you actually go look at if you go look at a Wrangler Jeep, you'll notice it's the exact same font that they use for Wrangler.
Really? Huh.
The W and the A.
Yeah.
The R is some weird. Somebody fucked with that, and it's just
Pass that one down.
the R. What the fuck were you doing with that R?
So I heard from a friend that this Bum hydration electrolyte formula was banger.
I have had this.
I've not had it yet, so don't ruin it for me.
I love the colors on that box too. I just think that the colors look beautiful.
This is a box full of stick packs. You get 20 of them. I overpaid for this, but you know what?
Break it down, Joey.
All right, so from the top, we have 1 gram of carbs, which is actually kind of nice here. We got a 6.1 gram serving size. So 1 gram of that is carbohydrates. It's probably the flavoring and some other stuff. But we got some vitamin C, cool. Niacinamide, 2 milligrams, 13%. Not that great. Pyridoxine hydrochloride, but methylcobalamin, we have a good B12.
That's cool.
Calcium citrate, some magnesium bisglycinate, chelate. Love that bioavailability. Low dose, though.
I think you just like saying chelate. It looks like chelate.
We got zinc citrate, sodium citrate. We got potassium from dipotassium phosphate, pretty cool, and potassium citrate, which is this is all really neat. We got a gram of taurine. We got 500 milligrams of coconut water, natural and artificial flavors, citric, malic, bamboo stem, and leaf. That's for, I believe that is for stevia Reb M. No, it's not. That's bamboo. That's a natural silica, I would
Why
say.
have bamboo?
Because it does have silica. It is a humectant. It absorbs moisture. So instead of like having silicon dioxide or calcium silicate, they use bamboo.
So you're saying for the mixability of the powder?
No, for the stability of the powder, so it doesn't get hydroscopic and clump up on you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. That's fucking clever. That is
Interesting.
clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's sucralose and stevia or spirulina extract. Spirulina's in here for the color. It is a light blue.
What flavor?
This is should be blue raz. Yeah, blue raz.
Okay. Let's give it a
Bum
search.
hydration.
Ooh, that's good.
It's a good slurp.
Yeah, that's a real good slurp. That's how you hawk tua or whatever. You know what I like on hydration beverages?
What?
I like it when they put a little of that coconut in there.
Yep.
I think
I
it
agree.
balances it real nicely.
I agree.
It's kind of got a sweetness to it, but it also has like a mouth feel that gives it. It makes it feel a little.
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What you thinking, Joey?
I think it's good.
You like
I just got
Punch
done
you in the-
drinking this Ghost Energy drink
you
over
like
here.
smack you in the mouth flavor.
I really do.
Yeah, I like light.
I think
Flavor.
Yeah, it is. It is very good for light flavor. It is bang on the genre. I actually taste blueberry in here, which is very rare for a blue raspberry, even though it's got both.
I see what you mean.
Raspberry overpowers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime I make a blue raz, I've got like 3 or 4 times the amount of blueberry as I do the raspberry, and I'm praying that it shows up, and it does show up here, which is really that's remarkable. It creates the taste of blue in your mouth.
Yes, it does.
So,
And
like,
the
it-
box,
it's-
it looks like this color blue in
Yeah.
the box too.
Yes, like when you're having
Yeah.
that synesthesia, that color pops up in your mind where it's
Yes.
like, okay, it makes you think of blue popsicles. Like there is a lot of goodness to this.
I like the
I
minimalist.
just would have hit it harder. I just would have hit it harder.
I know you do, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the Propel, where it's like kind of that. You guys ever had Propel? I don't know if it's
Yeah,
even still
yeah,
out. It's like that subtle kind of.
Yeah.
Like after a run, I feel like it's almost more watery than a
But it's-
strong Gatorade
but
or something
you
like that.
kind of crave that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when you, I'm old. When I go out and mow the lawn for like 2 hours in the hot sun, and like I crack one of those seltzer waters.
Yeah.
Like I know that the bite on the carbonation, like any other time, is kind of like, oh, that's a lot. Like on a LaCroix.
Yeah.
LaCroix.
Croix.
Yeah. But like when you're hot,
Yeah.
it just fucking
Just hits.
smacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet if you were hot, this would smack.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm-
Hot
without
day.
a doubt. Cold.
Like you could
Yeah.
put this in like your hydro jug or something.
Yeah.
And you walk over, mowing the lawn or whatever, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
like it would nectar of the gods you in the face.
These guys are using Babus, whatever. You
Font.
want. Yeah.
That's a common one.
Comic Sans.
I do like how they have just like this little paragraph statement right here on the
Yeah, the
slide.
story.
They're not telling you why electrolytes are good for you.
The letters
It's
are
all
the words
marketing.
are irrelevant. I'm not even reading them. I just like the way that it's formatted.
Looks good,
Yeah, it does look good.
pleasing.
What you think, Pat?
Yeah, I think it's.
You think you could sell a couple million of those?
Yeah, I mean, hydration is just so interesting. I mean, we work with a few hydration brands, and it's like when you don't have an angle like having Chris Bumstead to sell your product, it's like typically you're just trying to go us versus them versus like a liquid IV or like an element, and that's the
Yeah.
ad,
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the big leg up is
Chris Bumstead.
Chris Bumstead, and so it's like, okay, well, I'm a liquid IV customer. Oh, Sebum came out with one, so now I'm taking Sebums over
Look,
all the others.
I'm like a connoisseur of this shit, and I still bought it because of the flavor aspect of it. And now that I've had it, I'm gonna hate myself, and I'm gonna end up drinking the shit out of it anyway. Because I'll be like, man, if I could just go over to my table over here and just grab an extra blue and a little extra raspberry. But no, I'm just gonna drink it like it is.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, solid.
You know, I like the primes. I like the primes more than the Ghost, which I probably am more of a Ghost fan as far as the brand goes. But I think the primes just taste better.
Primes do. No, they punch a lot harder.
Prime
Yeah.
has the coconut. Does Ghost have the coconut?
And they got a
too?
little bit of sugar too.
Okay.
And like I'm okay with a little bit of sugar. I'm okay with it.
Where's that extra cup? I want him to try this Prime too.
So is that a blueberry?
Damn it! Did I already use all the cups?
There's the orange one over there.
That's milk.
Oh, you're right.
This
okay.
is the grossest stack of cups.
Now that you've had bum hydration. God, I can't believe I'm like halfway ass endorsing Prime here.
Wait,
Give that a comparison.
am I drinking this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want Joey's cooties?
Way heavier handed.
Oh yeah, it's a haymaker.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Yeah. That's a jab. I'm here to knock you out.
Yeah.
Pour me some.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Here,
But I
you
think with Prime, that's the customer is more like maybe
A kid.
juvenile that want just sugar tasting stuff.
True.
Versus this could be like an after the run. And that's what's crazy about Raw is that they're going,
Oh, yeah.
everyone's jumping on the hybrid athlete trend. So they came out with a bunch of campaigns on
Go ahead.
running and everything.
About Prime.
Yeah.
What?
Now that we're talking about Prime, how do y'all feel about like all the hate and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Hate?
what is the hate on Prime right now? Because I know
don't know.
originally it was like just everyone thought that this had caffeine and it was giving it to kids and it were just boomers being
So there's
dumb.
current. I don't know. I'm unaware. Is there hate on Prime right now?
Well, there's something about the
Logan Paul in Prime. So they say that Prime has those plastic, what is it called?
microplastics.
Microplastics.
Yes.
And then
Oh, I got bad news for you, folks.
It's in everything.
It's in fucking everything, okay? Maybe they ran a test on Prime, but you taste anything, drink anything out of a plastic container, and guess what? It's full of microplastics.
And guess what, folks? It's also in cans, too.
In cans, because there's a little tiny plastic liner on every aluminum can,
Even liquid death.
even liquid death. And if you... Yeah. Well, we talked about this. So there was a clinical study that came out recently, looking at not just the testicular slice crust section, but also the ejaculate, the semen of both rats and men, and 10 subjects, both rats and men. And guess what? Microplastics every single fucking time. It doesn't matter if you're a Tibetan monk living on top of a mountain in the Himalayas, or if you're a guy who's some fucking, DGen from Jacksonville, Florida. Or a rat that's living in a beautiful meadow in the French countryside. You've got microplastics all up in you, in between your cells, every cell. Guess what? We're all already fucked, and we don't know what to fucking do about it.
These forever chemicals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that right? Even like people in, you said like just that aren't even exposed to crazy United States diet of eating out of all this shit.
Well, it's
like-
also, it's in water.
everywhere.
It's in everything.
Easy. Okay. Yeah.
There's the longstanding theory that, what? Go ahead.
we were thinking that because, tires, rubber.
Yes.
You're driving, microplastic.
That is the long,
Like breathe it?
not long-standing, but that is the latest hypothesis that it is in the air. That it is in the air from just tires, gripping the road and people driving everywhere. They're in a place on Earth that has a car that doesn't have rubber tires.
I guess
Yeah.
in some jungles, maybe, but still, the air.
Will
Moves.
eventually mix. Yeah, the air goes everywhere. You got cold fronts, warm fronts, hurricanes, tornadoes, everything, and our whole planet is mixing that shit.
It's all
around.
from China.
Oh yeah.
That China forever plastic.
But yeah, that's a problem. It's a problem. And the thing is, like, I've even talked to other people like in the industry, and they're like, well, we're just getting ready for all the class action lawsuits. And I'm just like, for what?
Yeah.
For what? There's everyone's going to be pointing the finger at everybody else.
They just target the hot brand. That's why Prime just top of mind for everyone for lawsuits.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's more to
Target.
it than that. It's more to it than that. Yeah, these can be BPA free and everything, but the fact of the matter is the liquid, due to state regulations and federal regulations, if you want to have this thing have a 1 or 2 year shelf life, that it's got to be acidified so it doesn't grow microbes. But when you add acid to this liquid and you put it in a plastic bottle, that acid at some point in its chemical equilibrium is going to start eating away the plastic on the outside of it. Yeah, I wish I had a solution, but I don't.
Rogan said on the podcast a few weeks ago is that I don't know who's the guest, said we consume a credit card of plastic a week. I don't know if you've heard that one yet,
That's crazy.
but that's how much we consume. I don't know.
It does
That's what
not
I've heard.
shock me at all.
Yeah.
So, Joey,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about your nonprofit.
Oh God. But I should be excited about this.
He's been telling me about this for months
So-
now, and I really still don't understand it.
A lot of the motivation for the things that I do in my life comes from spite. And obviously you've seen like
A man after my own heart.
our frustration with the government.
Yeah.
And I even got a really interesting quote that I read today. It was on an email, and it turns out it's actually true. And I sent this to a couple of the guys that are working with me on this nonprofit. And it said, after the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, DSHEA, was passed in 1994, the FDA commissioner at the time, Dr. David Kessler, was reportedly so infuriated by the enactment of DSHEA that he ordered the FDA to not enforce the new law. Former FDA officials subsequently admitted that the goal of this policy of non-enforcement was to allow the worst aspects of the supplement industry to run wild and hope that the law would be repealed.
Which is we've spent the last 20 years doing.
I think that's all you need to know. I think that's all you need to know about what the FDA thinks of our industry.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say I take the Douglas Adams approach. Resistance is useless. You're fighting a battle. It's a red queen's race. You're running in place.
Well,
When you're fighting this battle, and
Yeah.
kudos to you, and I support you. But
So-
I'm just going to sit over here and be like, all right, Joey,
I've decided to pick up my sword,
you go punch yourself out, buddy.
and I'm going to do it. But I think
How? How are you going to do it?
so. We formed this thing called the Future Nutra Foundation, FNF, because we care about the future and we want to, do what we can to, clean up what's going on right now and to ensure a better future and maybe have like an influence on future regulations if there is anything new that's going to pass, and become really involved in how our industry operates. One of the things that we notice immediately is the lack of enforcement by FDA with all these other bad actors that are in the marketplace. You're like, why even care? Your opinion has been very, very well stated and defended to many degrees on this show.
Well, we have similar. We know the people.
But we also know the right way to do things too.
We do, but we also.
It's really demotivating when some shithead who doesn't do things the right way comes in and sells a shit ton of product and makes a lot of money and
it sucks.
buys Lamborghinis and pieces the fuck out.
Yeah, but if you go and look at the really big brands too, the biggest ones in the world, like somewhere in their fucking closet, there's a skeleton. There's a stain somewhere on one of those
plenty.
fucking shirts. I'm telling you, no one is cleaning this thing.
But it doesn't mean we can't start trying to clean it up now.
No, I agree. I agree completely. I'm just saying, to its very core, it's DGen.
But that's not going to last forever.
And when you take this shit over to China, where the sourcing of all this stuff comes from, I got news for you, people. It is way more DGen.
Oh, yes, it is. So the Future Nutra Foundation is based on three main principles. One, consumer protection and public health. And those two things are going to be done through an act of self-policing, which is what the FDA has proposed that our industry kind of start doing.
That's why we have NSF and these other certificating bodies, correct?
Kinda. But the thing is,
It's self-auditing.
as a very, very wise quote from Jim Emmy and Now Food said, that locks only keep out bad actors or honest people. Locks only keep out honest people.
Yeah.
Try to open a door. Oh, it's locked. Too bad.
I got bolt cutters.
Yeah. Like most people are like, yeah, I got bolt cutters or a really strong boot or a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in that door if I want in that door.
Yeah.
That's the kind of people that, really kind of fall through the cracks, which seems to be by design.
Yes,
So
as you just proved.
one of the things we want to do
Or stated.
is we want to do random finished product testing to ensure that different companies are meeting label claim and
So go to the store, buy something randomly and product test it.
exactly.
Just to
Or-
see if it meets label claim.
Or in some certain cases, people will send us stuff and we send that off for testing. And usually that's a case where it has a banned ingredient or a non-dietary ingredient in
Will
it that
that
shouldn't be in that
influence
product.
people who are competitors to try and just call out their competitors?
That's what I was thinking.
Theoretically, but I don't have a horse in this race right now, so it makes it real easy for me to not really be a competitor to anyone.
So you're just saying, all right, let's try to even the playing field by
Exactly.
calling out bad actors.
Calling out bad actors, naming and shaming, maybe send their info to the FTC because we know the FDA isn't going to do shit.
What's up, everyone? TK here with Nutramedia, and today I want to talk about the sponsor, which is us, Nutramedia. As you know, Supp Works is filmed here at our Nutramedia studios in Willis, Texas, and we are a full turnkey design studio. Really what that means is we help brands create their identity systems, their logo, their fonts, their colors, their textures, their patterns, and then apply that to the greater spectrum of their brand. So like their packaging, labels, whether it's bags, boxes, whatever your packaging is, we help design that. We design it for print, and then we take those assets and those ideologies and then build it out so it's scalable for your marketing. That means your merchandising, your promotional needs, your booths, things like that. We're a full turnkey graphic design studio. We have 7 in-house designers, including myself, and we also can do some auxiliary media like editing videos and helping with websites, helping do things like podcasts. So anything in the world of CPG, supplements, packaging design, media, we are your go-to agency for that. You can always contact me directly, tk@nutramedia.co. You can also contact Blair. She helps with our sales, blair@nutramedia.co. And if you're looking to get started on a project, just know that we're very flexible with pricing. We have an hourly buy-in in which we ask people to sort of buy into a retainer. And then once that retainer is met, we're just hourly after that on a month-to-month basis. We're very flexible with most brands. Don't come to me with like a one-off thing. We like to work on larger projects that have continuation over a course of time. We have some clients that we've been working with for well over 3 years, and they ask us to do things for them every single day. And that's really where our bread and butter is being an attachment to your marketing to help you create assets that are high quality at rapid speed so that you can scale your business. That's what Nutramedia is. So if you guys are interested, go to nutramedia.co, no M, nutramedia.co. You can fill out a form, or you can email us directly. You can also just DM us, or you can also find us on LinkedIn. Okay, make a video about it. Send it over to Ben Kane. Let him make a piece of content.
It's possible to like make some content out of this.
Sure.
But you can't just do that because that in a way kind of magnifies the problem, right?
And it also kind of makes you a piece of shit to a lot of people.
Sure.
You're going to make, as we saw yesterday when Ben put that video up about Chad, like the response was not really positive for him. They were like, we like Chad. We don't care.
I saw that and I thought to myself, all those people are galvanized to Chad.
Yeah.
Like that probably just gave Chad a lot of business.
He texted me today, and I can yes,
guaranteed.
Yes. You got a nice little bump.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like, to put a spotlight on it, it's not always a good thing. So that's going to have to be done with some delicacy and some discretion on how we do that part. But in a sense of like, if the FDA is not keeping tabs, someone needs to.
Sure.
But at the same time, you can't just show the bad actors. You've also got to show the good actors. You got to show people who are doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. So there's a two-faceted approach to this where we're going to try to point people in the right direction, people who want to like show their testing results and that kind of stuff. Okay. It's something that Price Plow is like, kind of doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing it in the scope of a nonprofit. Yeah. So we're not doing it for views. We're not going to be doing it for that kind of stuff.
Well, we're not doing this for money. We're just taking the monies from the donations in order to go pay for the testing.
To do the testing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
now I got a question.
Yeah.
It's a nonprofit. Do you set yourself a salary?
No. It's a nonprofit.
Well, no, nonprofits still set salaries for. That's how nonprofits
not for me personally,
money. Yeah.
But there are other people that will end up working for the nonprofit, the people sending out samples and stuff like that, that obviously they've got to get paid because no one's going to work for free.
Yeah. That's the fucked up about nonprofits.
There are churches in Texas.
Yeah. A
lot of Lamborghinis.
You ever heard of the Clinton Foundation?
Yeah. Well, and I thought about that and I was just like, that's just a tax haven for fucking Microsoft. But, I don't know. I think the good that they do in the world is actually kind of debatable at this point.
Okay, so how do you...
Same thing with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
How do you keep from doing that?
I mean, not doing fucked up clinical studies on Ebola in Africa. I mean, that's probably one way to like. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy.
Not film.
Okay,
not film.
So
film.
You do bring up a valid point, which is another one of the facets of the organization.
Okay.
So using some of that money to fund clinical studies that actually further our knowledge of these nutraceutical ingredients, what they're doing in the human body, and kind of like uncovering the provable benefits of what these things actually do.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of knowledge gaps. There's a lot of, company paid for X study, so there's going to be some sort of a bias on it.
For sure.
And I don't want to give those opportunities to the companies. I would rather do that and give those opportunities to people that are working on their PhD in academia. Be like, hey, there's this knowledge gap that we know that, creatine does X, Y, Z, but there's a theory that it does this at a certain dose.
And it's like open source where everyone can kind of own that.
It's going to be set up in a competitive kind of format.
Okay.
So we're going to end up deciding that we're going to have like 5 different research areas.
Okay.
And within these 5 different research areas, there might be one that's specifically like cellular mechanisms, like, this company's done a study on this ingredient and it had miraculous weight loss in 25 people, but there's no smoking gun as to how it fucking works. So either that's magic or there's some real reason why it's going on. So study this ingredient in fat cells, see what it does, kind of find the smoking gun as to why it does what it does.
Okay.
Then there's the obvious like reverse of that where, there's a cellular mechanism that's well known we want to see what it does in a, placebo-controlled double-blind, human clinical study. To set up some of those gold standard studies to once again, like in an archaeological sense, just sweep away some of the dirt, the shit that we don't know.
Okay.
And then the third part is probably my favorite part of it all. It has to do with the agricultural aspect of things. Where you want to look at optimizing certain growing conditions or changing different growing conditions. Maybe like stressed grape produces more resveratrol than like a very nice fat and healthy grape. Looking at the different ways in which you can manipulate certain organisms. I mean, not like GMO kind of thing, but just looking at like their growth conditions and stuff.
Yeah.
And how you treat them and seeing how that changes the expression of different nutritional ingredients that are natively found in those things.
Yeah. You've been talking a lot lately off mic about like fermenting different stuff. And,
Yeah.
And all kinds of
there's a whole world of like microbial metabolites that, these probiotics poop out and, it ate berberine and it shit out dihydroberberine. And all of a sudden dihydroberberine does a whole bunch of stuff and that ingredient's available now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like that we aren't even scratching the surface on what our industry is truly capable of.
So you're trying to like open source, crowdsource funding to be able to go out and learn more in a way that everyone can access this.
Yeah, just to chip away at the things we don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to create a lot more commercial opportunities in the industry.
Sure, yeah.
It'll create, data that actually can back up a new dietary ingredient application.
I can see a lot of like ingredient companies and things like that getting on board with something like this.
I could definitely see them getting on board because if they're funding something that eventually will end up helping them, or it creates something for those kind of people to pay attention to. Look at like the different data that's coming out of the funding of these grants and the people that are publishing this data, and there's going to be business opportunities that pop up from this.
Yeah, you see it in academia all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
and the third thing is education. Education in a couple of different ways. One is actual community outreach, like going to high school athletic programs and being like, hey, I'm sure you've heard about supplements and I'm sure you have a lot of questions and you kids are young and impressionable and don't listen to the fucking shitheads on TikTok telling you to grow your pencil with ashwagandha.
Yeah.
And then give them some actual educational information that is productive.
These are all the things that ashwagandha actually does.
Or maybe we even talk to them about some of the stuff that happened in the clinical studies and be like, hey, creatine, we found out in your age demographic is really good to be taken at this time of day. Like maybe it's first thing in the morning and it has nothing to do with your workout as long as you're like consistent with it. There's a lot of different possibilities there that, these dots can connect a lot. And I think that this nonprofit can do a lot of like, long-term good in the community so long as our industry survives.
Yeah.
So it's self-policing. It's doing a educational outreach and attacking this misinformation because there's a gob of misinformation out there. And just like in that quote that I read earlier, that's one of the worst parts of this industry is the misinformation. So fighting that off and then providing those funding opportunities for clinical studies. So those are the 3 main things that we want to do. And we're going to probably start a fundraising campaign, I guess, in 2 weeks, right after July 4th. You're going to see a lot more stuff coming from us then. If you go to nutraingredients-usa.com, I was at the DGen conference, and that's where I did like the soft launch announcement and interview for it there.
Cool.
Go to futurenutra.org.
Awesome stuff, dude.
Check it out.
Good shit.
Old Joey, black hat's putting his white hat on.
I may come off as some sort of profane, red-eyed weirdo, but I have a good heart.
Not a DGen.
I have a good heart.
Not a DGen. But you do want to make some pretty gnarly poop products.
You can
We're
ethically
gonna keep
use
that
DGen
quiet.
tactics.
I have a beautiful DGen idea that may be coming soon. We'll have to see.
Excellent. All right, so moving on to that's bullshit. Dordo here's got some stuff pulled up. We got the hormone hack.
Oh boy.
Play, Dordo.
Really fast. Hey, what's up? My name is Dawn, not a doctor, dietitian, or nutritionist, but save this video because I'm going to talk really fast. Like I said,
All
I am
right,
just a
2
friend.
minutes.
Like
Let's
gratitude.
lock in.
Pause here for a
Holy
moment.
shit.
Okay.
We got fucking Dawn here. She's coming with the heat. Pat, do you know how much of me hopes that these are ads that you guys are associated
But
with?
yeah, this is Tana.
Dawn?
She's a great paid actress. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope so. But anyway, let's keep going.
Who do you think she's voting for?
Who cares? She's trying to sell us products.
Newsom.
Okay, in a couple of years, without ever restricting my diet, doing any crazy exercise, this has all been about healing my gut, my mind, my body, my relationship with food, my hormones. Okay, it all has to be balanced. A lot of you know me for a different pack that I was using, and I am still using some of those products, but I have switched. And I'm going to tell you about the hormonal hack pack because this pack is incredible. So this is called Take My Pick. It is blood sugar balancing, quiets food noise, helps keep you feeling fuller longer. It is going to promote healthy digestion, helps with your heart health, your brain health, your mental
That's a
health.
lot.
It has
That's too many things.
NAC, ginger root, berberine, and glucomannan. I have a whole guide all about this, but this is a natural alternative to the Ozempic. Then you take this. This is Gold Digger. It is
okay.
a thermogenic
I can see that.
tea.
I can
It
see
also has
that.
functional mushrooms in it, so this is going to burn fat, boost metabolism. This can help
No,
with
it's
boosting serotonin, reducing inflammation, helping with that
Maybe.
stubborn belly fat, your gut health.
No.
If you guys don't know, your gut is your
Okay.
second brain. That's a side note. Then functional mushrooms help with cognitive function, mood boosting. You're going to get inflammation reducing. They help with anti-inflammation, antibacterial.
This girl's got too many
hormone balancing,
buzzwords
all
at
sorts of
once.
things like reishi, chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps, white button, turkey tail,
Two of those
and
claims are
then
okay.
then
The
in
rest
this
are
pack
too
is the
much.
Lion's elixir. This is
Elixir.
colloidal silver, colloidal gold, colloidal platinum, and fulvic minerals. So this is going to help. It's antibacterial. It's anti-inflammation. It is going to oxygenate your blood, detox, energize. This can enhance nutrient absorption.
tell on the energizing.
Micronutrients in it for all the things you need. It balances pH. It boosts your immune. I mean,
You're
it's so good.
promising
Anyway,
too
so
much stuff.
This is your hormonal high pack. Give this a try.
Hormone hack. All right, let's go look at them. The first one was interesting because it's like a rainbow holographic foil, and I didn't see any text or copy on it. So
Yeah, it's tough to see the product.
she didn't. Well, that's
160 something followers.
well, she didn't really talk about brand or product specific. So I thought that was kind of.
Notice she didn't say a natural alternative to Ozempic. She said Ozempic. So that's a trick.
Ozempic's the brand, right? Or is that the brand?
It's
or is
the
that
name brand.
It's the name brand.
Right.
Semaglutide.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Really, if you just want Ozempic, just
Oh,
go.
this looks like her own products. Is it her own products or is she pushing someone else's? I can't tell if it's.
Take
She's
my
got
pick.
so many different products.
She's selling
here.
shit.
She has an Amazon store. Go there. That'll probably have everything. No, it doesn't have anything. God damn it.
We're just trying to buy these products.
Well,
Give me the link.
All right, let's look at
so
this
the
one.
first one, the rainbow holographic one, is called "Take My Pick."
Oh, that's it. That's the
Yeah,
stack
shut
right
up.
there.
No.
Oh, take my pick, which is a play on words for Ozempic. She has a
All right,
whole,
hold on.
okay,
This
so
site
she
is a
has the
nightmare.
stack for sale for $185.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, they're proprietary blends.
Why does it have a dog on it?
So this is her natural alternative to quote unquote Ozempic, right? And it's a proprietary.
Oh, take my pick.
That's not compliant label. Scroll down. Is there a supplement facts? No. And that you can tell that it does not have enough room to have a compliant label.
Well, this is just a really fucking weird landing page she made here.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Okay. Some of what you said is actually interesting. Go back to the first one, okay?
This is Pat's like number one client, right?
Pays all my bills.
Proprietary blend glucomannan. She said that about the fullness, and it's possible that having high enough fiber could trigger GLP-1 release. Sure,
It's got berberine.
berberine, props, but I guarantee there's not enough. NAC, okay. NAC's good antioxidant. I'm okay with that. Ginger really helps with digestion. The oleoyl ethanolamide is really probably doing the most work here. So between that and the glucomannan, that's the curbing appetite. Stabilizing blood sugar and boosting metabolism, you could attribute that to the berberine, and aids in digestion, you could say that's about ginger. Clever on the claims. The dosing is really what matters here, but you don't know the dose of anything. So this could be bullshit. Like, in theory, looks great. In practice, probably not good, because you don't know how much of any of this is in here.
It looks like a cosmetic almost with that tub they're using. What's the servings? Does it have how many capsules are in the?
All of these supplements, like the way that they're like lined out, like
100. I just don't
That's a
see
Canva label right there.
How can you get 120 caps in that little thing? Unless it's just really wide, like really wide.
it is.
Can I break down why I like that video?
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so obviously the product is debatable on if it's good or not. Probably not. But the principles of the video, what she did was one, super raw UGC style video. So it's not this polished commercial.
Well, her first 5 seconds, she actually gave away her authority. She said, "I'm not these things."
Yes, but that
that's
was
a
kind of like a
disclaimer.
disclaimer. Yeah, which is
Okay.
kind of
Clever.
like
There's a lot of clever
actually
going
kind of
on
builds
here.
trust. It's kind of like a little. It's kind of but
It's a backwards way of building
Yeah.
trust.
So then she had us versus. She
I mean,
had
we have a
bef-
disclaimer on our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. She had a before and after. So she showed her before and after, whether it's bullshit or not. You can't actually do before and afters in ads, but for organic piece of content, that was cool. She's a little before and after.
What if you find out she had gastric bypass surgery?
Yeah, or she just tucked in her stomach and pulled up her waistband. But yeah, I mean, like,
It's just a different picture of a different
yeah, it's
person.
just totally different. So then she said, she called it out, she labeled it, she said it's a hormone hack. And then she proceeded to break down in the communication was pretty bad. She was just saying a lot of buzzwords, but for an uneducated customer, maybe they're buying.
If they can keep you watching for 2 minutes, I guess
that's a
Well,
long
and
video.
if I were to give her a grade on the accuracy of ingredient and function, I'd give her a 70. I'd give her a
Really?
She
I'd
rolled-
give her
I mean,
a-
yeah, she
I'd give her
rolled
a
right
legit
through that,
D.
yeah.
She rolled
Yeah.
through it. She rolled through it quick. She did try to go too hard. Like she got points off for she had decent accuracy.
But it's all predicated on what the dosage is, and we don't know. So
And the product quality is super questionable.
the
Yeah,
logo is a
totally.
dog and a horse, a pink and a blue one. It's weird.
It was a unicorn.
Oh,
Oh, you're checking the website traffic.
She's just pumping on TikTok Shop though. We just can't see it
Yeah.
because we're on the website.
I love how Eduardo has all these little tricks. He's like, let's see what kind of.
Yeah, you
see what
rip
kind of
similar
traffic
web, multiply it by.
All right, let's just go to the next TikTok. I mean, she's not bad, but she's not great.
No,
and these
awful,
products look
awful.
like they suck.
It's definitely not worth
I'm devil's
$185.
advocate.
$185.
You didn't expect that.
Okay, before and after pic.
You ended up
All right,
losing 30 pounds.
this lady said she lost 30 pounds in 2 months. When you didn't expect that appetite suppressant to actually work and you lose 30 pounds in 2 months. First of all, it's not sustainable weight loss.
Amazing. It stops all my sugar cravings. and
Oh,
helps
God. She
with
does have a
portion
product, but
control.
she
Tons of
didn't promote it.
engagement. Tons of engagement.
Yeah, but she's probably promoting it somewhere else. In other videos.
Herbal influence.
Hold
Dog
on. Go
Shop.
back up and play it again so the audience can see what the fuck we're talking about.
Again?
I bet that did 10K in sales.
See you again.
Easily.
And you are just, well, better.
I don't think that looks like 30. It could be 30 pounds.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
know. What's her other videos?
Oh, God. This is some white label shit. I can already tell you.
Oh, show.
I can already tell you.
cold, I think
Based in Texas.
cold, I think I'm done with icebergs. If I leave her, she gon' die. But bitch, you done with life.
I like the baby.
She is actually putting in work in the
Fuck
gym.
yeah, dude. She's
And
like
she's
2
saying
plates
count your
on.
calories.
Like, nothing against this girl. Like, I think she's like trying to sell her transformation, which is totally fine.
Totally viable. Like, that's a great.
Yeah, like she's storytelling with this, which is great.
I like.
But let's see what she's selling.
Hey. a
she has a
business
master class.
where she's a guru as well.
She's not like.
So what she'll do is she'll sell this product and then she'll show you how to also sell this product. So maybe it's like an MLM or something.
Could be.
She's probably part of some group.
Are we not going to get to the ingredients anywhere? Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. God, I hate this. It says supplement facts and a list of ingredients, no dosages of anything.
Looks like a Chipotle order.
Yeah. I'll have some white kidney bean with some Garcinia. Artichoke Zingerberg premix, which is really artichoke and ginger, with more artichoke. And then I'll have some Cinera cardunculus, which I don't think
That'll be
that's
extra, sir.
I'll have it with the Pepsin.
No, look. Here's a problem that like no one will see. Artichoke Zingerberg premix looks like a different ingredient from artichoke leaf extract, Cinera cardunculus, and ginger root extract, and Zingerberg officinality. Like, that's all one thing. That literally is all one thing from the first ingredient I said to the last ingredient I said, because you've got artichoke Zingerberg premix, which contains artichoke leaf, which is Cinera cardunculus. That's the wrong species. Okay, cardunculus. I don't even think that is a species name. Then we got ginger root. Under that, it says Zingerberg officinality, which is the technical name of ginger root. So, like, the way that this website is already set up is pretty fucked. Pepsin, glucomannan.
Pretty terrible.
Glucomannan should not be the last ingredient here because you actually need a substantial amount for that little fiber to expand in your gut and make you feel full. But the top thing, which is probably doing the majority of the work, is the white kidney bean extract that blocks carbohydrate absorption. And it says appetite suppressant. There ain't a fucking thing in here that suppresses appetite. At least, like, not that it has like clinically substantiated claims for appetite. It does say long-lasting fullness, which kind of could do if it had more glucomannan, but it's the last ingredient on the list. But the pepsin's for protein digestion, which is also kind of neat.
Is that considered 100% organic?
Well,
who the fuck knows?
It would depend on there's
can
other,
that even, is
there's
impossible?
information not on here that would be able to determine that, like what is the capsule.
I mean, this
and
you got
flow
a
agents.
render of a product with the shit label. It's
look at those
probably a
claims.
white
So
label
wait, scroll
product.
up.
Really
Scroll
bad
up a little
render.
bit.
Really bad
A
render.
little bit more. What are those three numbers?
Recyclable
right there?
packaging.
Happy
Okay,
customers.
it's plastic.
Look at how we got 5,000 happy customers. We also have 100,000 happy customers.
Oh my god!
And somehow we have 1 million products sold.
That's a
So
huge
we're
deficit of happy customers.
Yeah, that's like
1
10%.
out of 10 customers are satisfied with this product.
Patrick,
good.
can you gamify reviews?
I actually don't touch. You can.
Oh, it was in Women's Health magazine. Do you believe that?
Well, you can
That's
always just
beyond my expertise.
I
You can
think
just
those-
buy some PR.
those-
Those are
no,
probably all
those-
BS.
you can
those
buy
are
PR,
just logos.
or you can just rip logos.
Yeah, that's ripping logos, 100%.
Ain't nobody writing nothing about you.
130 people are actively looking at this. That's bullshit.
And $150 is what they're selling that for. $250 for the masterclass.
It says scroll
How
up.
to get the
It's
website started.
It's totally white label. If you scroll up to the a little bit more. Well, a little more. Order in 1922, get delivery. Oh, I thought it said July 12th. Okay, July 2nd. That's actually kind of fast. That's not, typically with like dropship products, you see like 3 weeks to.
What about the
your
widget where
product.
they're like, there's 128 people looking at this?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit. And then she's also got a camera with dollars falling in it. So she's basically saying, like, here's how you make money off of ripping off everybody that you know.
Yep.
Let me rip you off, and let me teach you how to rip other people off too.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Herbal influence. Herbal.
Oh, God.
Total visits over the month, 3.4 thousand.
16.75% bounce rate? What the fuck?
That's
Are people
high.
buying?
No, that's a high fucking bounce rate, dude.
Is that in a month? 3.4?
Average visit is 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
All right, I would say it's 3,400 sessions times, let's say, a 0.03 conversion rate. She's
Fuck her
getting
up with the stats, bro.
102 orders, and how much is that product selling for?
Probably $20.
No, it's $150.
Let's
the
say the
fuck?
single product. Let's just say that
Single unit.
39.
$40.
This costs less than $5 to make.
39.99. I mean,
Way
theoretically, that's a high conversion. 3% is that's decent. She's making $4K a month. Realistically, it's probably closer to maybe 1,000, and then it's probably white labeled. She's maybe making a couple $100 a month on that.
Seems like a lot of effort for not a lot of payoff.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's trying, though. All right, next.
I like that she's working out. That's the best thing.
Yeah, she was doing this.
Oh, do not take these vitamins together.
together, and here's why. So I know I talk a lot about supplements that you
78,000 likes.
I never
Wow.
really expand on supplements that you should not be taking together. First, it may surprise you, but magnesium and calcium, at least above a certain ratio. If you take a calcium magnesium above a 2-to-1 ratio, it can be linked to certain inflammatory, cardiovascular, or metabolic disorders.
He's
Next,
reading
the
off the
iron in green tea,
friggin'
the active ingredient in green tea, epigallocatechin, or EGCG for short, is known to greatly reduce the absorption of iron.
That's true.
Green tea still has great benefits. Just be mindful to consume it 1 to 2 hours after taking iron. Then you have vitamin C and B12. Taking high amounts of vitamin C can greatly reduce the absorption of vitamin B12.
Or it can also
Just make sure
destroy
you're
the
taking your
B12.
vitamin C at least 2 hours before you're taking your B12 supplement to avoid a B12 deficiency. And then there's just the overall difference between fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins. For example, just because it's safe to take vitamin B and vitamin D together, it may not be the best idea. Because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, it's better to be taken with food, as opposed to vitamin B is going to be a water-soluble vitamin, so it may be better taken on an empty stomach. Same thing goes for like vitamins D and C; those should be taken at different times.
All right. First of all, I don't think that this should dissuade anyone from taking a multivitamin.
No. But I don't think he's wrong.
He's not. He's shockingly not wrong about a lot of stuff.
Is he selling something?
No, but that's probably.
He's
why.
probably selling something in another video somewhere.
Holistic nutritionist. He's got to have.
I don't think he's selling anything.
What's his?
They're all selling something,
Yeah.
Joey.
He's selling Maca Plus Crazy, talking about Ozempic, Poppy Soda being sued. He is right that EGCG, because of the cationic exchange property.
He's selling training, so that
No, he has nothing in his TikTok shop.
fermented beet and
He's
maca.
not selling anything in his TikTok shop. So
What was that you just clicked on?
That's his link.
Oh. Okay.
Wait,
Limited time
holistic
sale
care
on,
pack.
Yeah, go to that holistic. See what he's selling there. Limited time sale on holistic care pack. They're bugs.
just info product.
All right. well, okay, so he's selling.
I don't
information.
hate this guy.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That's his.
Oh, and he's selling this fermented beet and maca capsules for $35.99.
All right, for what that's worth.
I kind of like the label.
I wouldn't pay $39.99 for it. But a lot of it is him trying to do nitrates.
Organic fermented beet. Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking like a 5% nitrate yield at best in some of that.
I mean, it's all white label.
Dallas. There we go. I know him. Knew he looked familiar.
You should reach out.
That's a client.
Interesting. Well, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Most of he's the best performer out of all of that's bullshit tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Agree.
We had him for the ADHD products for kids. Remember that one?
ADHD products for kids.
Yeah. Look one up.
Was he good?
It's the same guy?
I don't think those get good.
No, I think we shit on that
Find it.
couple weeks ago.
So he's also a proponent of chlorophyll, which is pretty fucking smart.
Can I do a request for that's bullshit?
Oh, do you have one?
I have a brand that if you go to if you just search ad library, like Facebook ad library, you can see anyone's ads.
No way. Backdoor.
That's where you were for offline, right? Yeah, search I think it's Happy Mammoth. All ads.
Well, that's funny because they're all dead.
It's definitely yeah, there we go. Okay. Not my client. They're running 810 ads, and I'd say they use pretty DGen marketing. I'm losing weight and having the best sex at 49.
Oh boy.
Hell yeah.
My look, my husband. See, it's almost like kind of like the opposite of Alpha Line, kind of going after the women. If you find a video, maybe play one of the videos. They pump videos ads, but they make like crazy claims.
Turn it up.
Quality hormonal supplements. And what Happy Mammoth does differently to deliver you the #1 formula that helps women lose weight and banish hot flashes, fatigue, brain fog,
These are
mood
great
swings,
ads.
and other hormonal issues.
What doesn't
So
it
you
do?
can feel more like you than
But
you have
is
in
it
decades.
accurate?
First off, some supplement companies are selling generic white label products with low quality ingredients.
We know
But
that.
Hormone Harmony is a 100% custom formula developed by a nutritional scientist with over 17 years of experience in women's health, and it's based on over 14,000 scientific papers. It has 12 nutrients in the exact doses shown in scientific research to deliver the best results. Now, let's talk about the ingredients. Some companies use cheap artificial ingredients.
The bullshit's
but
coming
Hormone
out.
Harmony has the highest quality organic ingredients sourced personally from Happy Mammoth from small farms from India, South America, Australia, and the USA.
Then how do you know it's clinical?
It is not made with any filler, colorants, preservatives, pesticides, or GMOs. And
that's a load of shit too.
Infuriating problem. With a lot of supplements, what you see on the label is not what you get. But
I'd like to test your shit.
There's a 3-step quality control process. This
3-step
process
quality
guarantees that
control.
Every single capsule has the right ingredients is listed on the label in the right doses so that you can see results. First,
it is a good ad.
Test the ingredients
great ad.
in the
All the
right
principles.
warehouse.
Well structured.
Second, they randomly test every batch of Hormone Harmony during production.
Maybe
It's
go
not
to the
random
website.
if you test every batch.
Every batch to a third-party laboratory to get their second opinion on their quality standards. Now, if you've seen the tens of thousands of reviews on Hormone Harmony, you're
They had a
probably
disclaimer
wondering,
quickly
are
pop
those
up that said
reviews
individual
fake?
results may
While
vary.
Some companies use fake
That was
reviews.
interesting.
Hormone Harmony has close to 17,000 real reviews by customers verified by Okendo. Okendo is a third-party app that collects reviews only from people who have purchased Hormone Harmony. That's why every single review you see comes from someone who actually bought Hormone Harmony, has tried it, and is giving their honest opinion.
I've seen
without
enough.
being compensated for it.
Pull up the
And
label,
finally,
I'd be curious
a
to
critical factor that's overlooked.
see what
Some
it is.
companies sell supplements
Just for profit? No, go back. If they're not selling supplements just for profit,
we're gonna find it and play it back.
I gotta get the rest of it. What else are you selling it for?
There's
Is
810
it gone?
ads to find.
Is it gone?
If they have 800 ads running,
We were at the
Spending
end.
a lot. Spending a lot. They're testing a lot. This is the
try to trick women into
so
buying
even if you do
poor quality
$10 in
hormone
each ad, it's still like
supplements
$8,000.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
for
yeah.
profit. They don't even care about the customer's results. But Happy Mammoth has 32 customer agents at your disposal at all times to help you
they
get
have a
the
call
most
center.
at a Hormone Harmony. If you're not happy with your result,
It's probably just a like a customer
How
service.
can I help you with your hormones
Exactly.
today? I am one of 32
No
people
meetings at
in our
5:30.
home office.
no Friday meetings.
No Friday meetings, Joey.
Fuck Friday afternoon meetings. God, that guy is genius.
I like the label.
Oh, can we grill them on quality, or is that a bot? That's got to be a bot. It's for
No, I think
Friday
for me, like they check all the boxes of great marketing, but is it a good product? That's where
It's
you
a
guys
good
have to come
mock
back.
up.
Right.
It's a good photo. It's a good label. It's
So those are proprietary blends, right? Complexes.
Yeah, there ain't enough berberine. I can tell you that right now. Even though it's a 15-to-1 extract,
HM5, HM4, and HM2.
there is some rationale to the formula. They have KSM ashwagandha, which is cool, and it's probably on there as the first ingredient because that is the majority of that proprietary blend.
Well, that's good too.
So let's disclaim that KSM's legit as fuck. All of these have to do with the genre of what they're talking about. Their clinical studies, or what she's claiming are the clinical studies, it is very loose to this formula. You look at the maca 10-to-1, there's got to be a standardization for the macamides that are in there. The chasteberry tree has to have Vitexin in it. The wild yam has diosgenin, and there's got to be a spec on all that stuff. You can't just be throwing in ratio extracts because they are cheaper, and then claiming clinical equivalency. The broccoli, the 20. All right, so I can run through this whole thing.
You said ratio extracts are cheaper?
Yes.
Well, usually they're more expensive.
Versus a standardized extract, which is like it's a creme de la creme. This is what you want. The ratio extracts are not going to have a standardized amount unless it's well documented that the type of extraction technique that they're using typically yields X amount of, like, say, Vitexin from chasteberry tree. So the first one's cortisol regulating. The second one is hormone balancing. The third one is also hormone balancing. The fourth one is actually a foreign source of hormone. So when she says hot flashes, it's because you're actually supplementing with a foreign source of hormone. The broccoli, you can make a loose breast cancer prevention claim because of the 3,3-diindolylmethane. Fennel seed, I could deal without that. But the berberine, that's a metabolism modulator of sorts. But there's better berberines that are out there. The Gymnema sylvestri, like a lot of this, they call it Meno Shred Complex. a lot of this has to do with metabolism. The Gymnema, it's for carbohydrate blocking. And then the rosemary in there which would be fucking killer if it was true ursolic acid and like dihydroberberine. That would be fucking dope. But it's not. They're ratio extracts. We have chamomile, mood. Okay, it's called the Meno Mood Complex. And then the rhodiola 10-1, which is also something that's going to increase neurotransmitter abundance. My problem is this is borrowed science. It's loose science, and you can't just apply that science to these ratio extracts. It's not being honest. Good try. Good attempt.
How much do you think cost of goods sold for this product is? Like super high margin. $69.99 seems crazy.
It is high, but the KSM's not cheap.
I feel like there might actually be more truth to these proprietary blends that we're not seeing. They wouldn't be selling a 24 serving unit if there wasn't something to it. There's got to be something to it. There's got to be some sort of like specification that's really going on here that they're not being truthful about. So this is one of those weird cases where a proprietary blend is kept proprietary because they might actually be hiding something good. But it might also be bullshit. And that's just the fucking risk you take with proprietary blends. It's a 50-50. So, I mean, it just could be like massively profitable, or it could be, pretty fucking good.
Yep.
I mean, the KSM 66 ashwagandha is kind of like implying that it might actually be pretty good. The rest of it is smoke and mirrors, but there might be some good things behind some of it.
So cogs, $7.
What's our retail?
69 for one time.
Yeah, definitely less than 10.
That's
Healthy
beautiful.
margin.
Yeah.
No wonder why they're advertising like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're making 10x at least.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Cool.
Well, Pat, anything else you want to add?
Where can people find you? How do they hunt you down? Tell them about TVG.
Yeah. Best way to contact me is either my Instagram at Patrick N. O'Driscoll, and I'm very active on LinkedIn. So hit me up anytime then. Special TK offer here. I'll build out a free welcome flow for any brand that wants to get a taste of TVG. Just let me know.
Good deal. Y'all should take
Tell me you heard about our debate breakdown, and we'll book the call.
All right, yeah. Hopefully, people didn't tune out during that whole time.
That's me talking about CPM and everything. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Yep, you got to nerd out. Different types of nerd out.
Patrick, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you. Very grateful. Appreciate it, guys.
We'll see you next time on the Supp Works podcast.
Boom.